What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of OneTrueSport.com. I'm also of RVDTV.com, and we are live on both channels, and we're also live on RVD's Twitter. So, guys, we hope to get a great audience here, and we are back. Fonzie is back for Right Down the Middle, episode 4, I think it is. I think this is our 4th one, Fonzie. It's good to have you back.
Episode 4, Daddy.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. How was your vacation?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast, and thanks for everybody who's been supporting us. We're getting good feedback. We're starting to get a good following. We had thousands one of the times. That was flattering, and thanks to everybody. And you guys send in the questions because I got 44 years of being on the road, so I got a lot of stories, Daddy.
Absolutely. And Fonzie, the game plan is, I had a good idea, is if you guys want, we're going to do a little giveaway. So what the game plan will be is that if you use the super chat, you'll automatically be entered into the giveaway to win that sweet, here, I'm going to pop it up here, to win that sweet ECW tracksuit. Look at that thing. That is, so those come sweatpants and hoodie, right, Fonzie?
Correct.
So if you,
ECW.
all you have,
yeah,
look at that.
RVD, Sabu Fonzie, Hardcore Legends Tour.
Heck yeah. So, guys, if you want to enter to be entered into the contest to get that, just put in a super chat. This might be over two episodes that we'll do it. So, if you put in a super chat, you automatically be entered. And at the end of when we do the episode, a couple episodes down the line, we'll announce a winner for that. So
yeah, absolutely. Now we're continuing to give away stuff like 8x10s, and we're giving some cool stuff, some Fonzie merch, and I got some hats coming out and all kind of cool stuff. But yeah, I love giving stuff away.
Absolutely. And guys, if you did happen to do this, enter to the contest for when we did it last time with the 8x10s, I got to go back and look and see what exactly happened so I can make sure I get the right people lined up for that. So I'll keep you in the loop with all that stuff. But just it's been a good time. How was your vacation, Fonzie?
Oh my goodness, I left on I don't know what day, like the 12th or 13th last month, and I flew from Tampa to Zurich, Switzerland. Had a cool time. Flew from Zurich to Barcelona, Spain, which was one of my favorite places. Then I went to my beautiful, tall, blonde Hungarian wife. Her and I went to Cannes, where they had the big film festival. Tom Cruise and everybody just left. I just missed them by that much. Then we stopped in multiple cities in Italy, and I've seen the Colosseum, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, some all kind of churches that were 1,000 years old. My God, Michelangelo built this bridge. We seen some cool stuff. It was fantastic. The food was unbelievable, and I really enjoyed myself.
What was your favorite stop that you went to when you were over there? Like
I like Barcelona because the food was just unbelievable. We went to this open air market, man, and the fruit and veg, it was just sensational. And they had all kind of cheeses and cappuccino. My God, I'll tell you about the cappuccino in a second. All kind of stuff, and I was eating oysters. They were shucking them right there. My God, it was so just beautiful. And I'll tell you where we had our cappuccino at was this town in Italy. It's the oldest. It's where they invented the cappuccino over 250 years ago. What happened was the Pope would tax a cup of coffee. You know, there were taxes on everything, so he taxed a cup of coffee. So you drink your regular cup of coffee, it's big like this, right? So how they got around the bigger tax is they made a little stronger, little shot of coffee, so there was less tax, less coffee. So that's how the cappuccino came about.
What? No way.
Yeah, 250 years ago. It's a pretty cool story. And we, my wife and I, had a cappuccino at the original place where they invented the tax. They tried to get around the taxation of the larger cup of coffee, and they did. And now it's spread worldwide. Everybody likes the cappuccinos.
Wow. How about that, Font? Man, you educated me on something I didn't know.
Pretty cool stuff, man.
That's pretty awesome. Now, obviously, you're Italian, right? Alfonso, right?
No, I'm Cuban. My father was Cuban, and my mother's Hungarian.
Whoa, no way.
So
Okay.
that's where I get the dark skin from, and I get the brown hair. Now it's grayish. But my mom was real light skin, Hungarian, blonde hair, beautiful. She looked like Shasha Gabor.
Wow.
Beautiful. My dad looked like Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky Ricardo. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I'm that combination from the Alfonso.
That's awesome. Because I was going to ask where in Italy where you're from, but you're not Italian. So.
I know, but I felt right at home. But it was really cool. We fit right in, and we didn't. I didn't feel so much touristy. You know, I was more. We met a lot. Well, we met a lot of people from all over the world. So that's the gathering place of people from all over the world. We were at the airport, and my goodness, all the cities I were out. You know, usually you see Denver, Los Angeles, New York, Kansas City. In this place, we were seeing worldwide stuff. South Africa, oh my God, it was. You knew you were in international.
Holy smokes!
It was
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
That's all. I have not been overseas ever yet, so it's obviously on my bucket list. I want to go.
Oh yeah, I suggest you go. You know, you'll love it. You'll love it. And fly business class.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind too.
Yeah, first is a little expensive, and coach is a little cramped. I would have went coach, but we went business, and my wife and I. So that was only a couple $100 more, but it was well worth it because it's a 9-hour flight from Tampa to Zurich.
Really?
Yeah, and then a 2-hour flight to Barcelona, and then you're right there. You're right in the center of everything, France, and boom.
Did you guys rent a car, or did you take train, or what did you do?
No, we got picked up. We had private people picking us up and taking us on tours, guided, a tour guide. We were on a ship. We jumped on the ship, cruise line, top of the line, fucking beautiful. We had a beautiful suite. We went from port to port on the ship, then we get off. And we had people picking us up like in golf buggies or in a cab or whatever. And they took us to all the famous spots. That's how I know so much about the bridge and this church and that church and the Cappuccino and all kinds of Michelangelo and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Man.
And Cons was pretty cool.
Oh, I believe that.
I loved it.
Yeah, I could imagine that. That's fantastic. Man, I'm happy for you too. I need to.
Thank you.
You're giving me the itch to go. I got to do it at some point.
We deserve it. I'll be 67 next month, August 11th. Don't forget to wish me a happy birthday. And the other superstar, Hulk Hogan. You guys remember Hulk Hogan?
I don't remember that guy.
But his birthday, our birthday's on August 11th. Both of our birthdays, August 11th. He's a couple of years older than me. And we both broke in Florida. We're two Florida kids. We grew up in Tampa Bay. He broke in Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley, Hiro Matsuda, and Dusty and all them. And so did I. So we got so much in common. And we both just, we're both cool guys.
Well, when was your first meeting with Hulk Hogan? When did you end up meeting him for the first time?
Well, we kind of knew of each other because we came from the same school. We came from not school, but we came from the same territory, Florida Championship Wrestling. So we knew of each other. And I met him in the early 80s when he was doing tours and stuff and coming in and I would run into each other. Because remember, in 1980, I was full-time from Florida with Dusty and Gordon Soley. So I was already, in the business. And so was Hogan. He broke in a few years before me. And I was on tour with him. I worked with him in WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So we came pretty close. In fact, I got a picture out here somewhere of us at the London Heathrow Airport. His arm around me. We got the whole tour. We went to 5 countries and 7 cities in 7 days. All sellout crowds, all big buildings. 2 shows in England, 2 shows in Germany, France, Edinburgh, Scotland, and we were 5 countries. It was pretty cool. And he treated me like $1 million. Hogan's really cool. He might be Trump's running mate. Who knows?
Oh my God! Could you imagine that?
He was on CNN the other night, and he might be the vice president.
Vice president? Could you imagine Vice President Hulk Hogan? Holy smokes!
Yeah, I'm asking for a job, Daddy.
Yeah, you'll be a part of the cabinet.
Yeah, put me in the committee for the Boys Club or something.
The Secretary of State, Bill Alfonso.
And I'll be good at it too. I'm good with the people. People
yes,
like
you are.
I'm good with the people, so I can generate something.
Absolutely.
And call it right down the middle.
And you do. That's it. Yeah, you'll reach across the aisle and call right down the middle.
Yeah.
Fonzie, what when you met Hogan early on, did you think he would be as big as a star as he ended up being at that point in time?
Well,
Or
nobody knows how big you're going to get, but Hulk Hogan's certainly the biggest name in the sports entertainment, wrestling industry in history. So my wife's a nurse, and say I'm going to give you an example of how big Hulk Hogan is, and he's the biggest. And no, of course I didn't know how big he was going to get, but I knew he was going to be somebody.
right.
Because he just had the personality, and he had the, he was a size, good-looking kid who had the big guns and all that. I knew he was going to be somebody because the way he acted and carried himself, and he was cool to everybody. And you can't be an asshole in this business. Even if you're a superstar, you won't last. So Hogan's real politically correct, and he's a good guy to have on your team. So what was I going to say about? What was the question?
Well, like, did you see his star power to that level? But you knew he was going to be somebody.
I knew he was going to be somebody, but I didn't know he was going to be this big. The biggest name. So I'm going to give you an example of how I use his name. So my wife's a nurse. She's really, she's been in the business a long time. And say we get invited to a Christmas party, and there's a lot of medical people there. There's doctors and lawyers and all kinds of people. Everybody's dressed nice and everybody's chatty. There's a Christmas party. And eventually they get to me and oh, Fonzie, well, what do you do for a living? And I don't want to say Russ. I say, well, I'm in the sports entertainment business. And they say, sports entertainment business? What's that? And I say, one name. Hulk Hogan. Then they get it. I can't say Ric Flair. I can't say Sting. I can't say Lex Luger. I can't say Rob Van Dam because they're not a household name. Hulk Hogan is. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan. So I say, yeah, sports entertainment. Hulk Hogan. So they know what I do, and they get it every time right away.
Right. Yeah. Hogan's
the biggest name. Nobody's bigger than Hogan. Nobody.
No,
And I love Flair and RVD and all those guys, but they're not as big as Hulk Hogan.
No, there's that level. I mean, I always say Scott Hall is my all-time favorite wrestler, and like he got me.
Another Tampa kid.
Yeah, another Tampa kid. He's my all-time favorite. But Hogan, if I'm being honest, when I was 5 years old, he's the one that got me interested in wrestling in the first place. He was the guy, and that's for a lot of people. There's no denying that,
Yeah, if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who Jimmy Fly and Scott Hall and RVD and Sting and Luger, all those guys. But if you're not a wrestling fan, you're going to know the name Hulk Hogan.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we got an interesting show today because we're going to talk about another big star, literally a big star in Giant Gonzalez.
A huge star.
Huge star.
Oh, since we're going to, let me show you a quick pic. Since we're talking about Hogan
yes.
and Giant Gonzalez, El Gigante, you remember Hogan's TV series, Thunder in Paradise, was filmed here in Tampa Bay.
That's right.
He had the big boat, and Jack Lemon's son, Chris Lemon, was his co-star, and Carol Auld, who loved me, by the way, she was, in the thing, and so... And they, in one of the episodes, they wanted Giant Gonzalez to come play a bad guy in one of the episodes. And
yeah.
So we did. And here's a pic of, this is on the set of Thunder in Paradise with, he sees all dressed up as guerrilla warfare. And then Hogan, we took this picture, and Hogan's not a small guy.
No.
I'm 5'9", almost. So take a look at this picture of the size difference.
Look at that. That's so crazy. Look how big Giant Gonzalez is. That's so crazy.
Right? It's crazy. He was the tallest athlete on the planet at that time when I worked for him. I was his personal assistant for 3 years. Wow. And I'll tell you how that came about as soon as we get rolling.
Absolutely. First, I wanted to start off talking about you are still a busy man in the pro wrestling business. And
I work every weekend.
Every weekend. And in a little over a week away, on July 12th, you're going to be back in the MLW fold for Blood and Thunder, their upcoming event here, and in Tampa Bay at that great venue too, that the Coliseum.
Oh, it's a great venue.
Awesome venue.
Coliseum, famous, has been around a long time. It's not a $20,000 seat arena. It's a small, compact, 4,000 or 5,000 holds. It's perfect for MLW. Oh my goodness! In fact, ECW ran there. We did quite well. We sold it out multiple times. And I'm there with Matthew Justice, MLW. I signed a 3-day contract with them, and I think they want to sign me for some more shows. And I like Court Bowers. I like the way he runs things. It's a hell of a company, man. They're doing really well, and they put out a good product. And for some reason, I fit right in because I worked with Matthew Justice in Cleveland for John Thorne, AIW. They put us together for a couple years, and we were on top doing fantastic things and for AIW. So I got a good history with Matthew Justice. He's badass. He's hardcore. And on July 12th in St. Petersburg at the Coliseum, MLW, man, we're going to have a hell of a show for you.
Absolutely. Matthew Justice is such a... I've said this before on the show, but I think he fits right in the fold of a Sabu, RVD, and like him pairing up with you is such a cool, neat thing because it kind of carries on that legacy that
we fit together fantastic. You know that John Thorne thought immediately when he called me up to bring me in, he thought immediately to put me with Matthew in their work. Bam. And I tell Matthew all the time he's known for taking these big, crazy bumps and having these real hardcore matches and jumping off of balconies and getting busted open and stuff. I said, brother, you don't have to do that 5 times or 6 times in a match. Come on, Matthew, slow down a little bit. And he doesn't. I said, look, Sabu's done that his whole career, and he's having trouble walking sometimes. Sabu's in good shape, but he could be in better shape. I said, you know, he's having trouble getting out of bed sometimes. Aches and pains. He needs a plastic hip, shoulders. I said, Matthew, you're, in your 30s. You're going to need freaking take it easy, kid. And he won't. He gives it 110%. When you see Matthew Justice's name on the card, you better go see him because he's badass. And if you love hardcore excitement and the blood and guts and tables and chairs and lions and tigers and bears, go see Matthew Justice. And you'll see me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he's got that good connection. Like he's got a good charisma, a good presence, and
he's a good-looking kid.
Good looking dude, like built, well built, everything. Yeah. And I think
he's beautiful. I love him.
I do. Like for his sake, I hope he picks and chooses his big moments to make it those extreme moments because you want to see him flourish more so in the business and have a long lasting.
Yeah, I think he's gotten it now. I think when I first met him 4 years ago, I've been working for John Thorne out of Cleveland for right before the pandemic started. So that's over 4 years ago. And so I've known Matthew, and he's had slowed down a bit and got more because he knows that if he goes it's hard. The problem is there's hundreds and hundreds of guys, but there's only small limited contracts being handed out by WWE and AEW. That's where you're going to make your money. But if you're a liability, if you go in there with a broken body and you're taking all these crazy things and you're limping, they don't want you. You're a liability. They want guys that can go. And Matt figured that out. He can still go. He still looks good. He's got a long career ahead of him. But man, he is one tough guy.
He's a tough cookie, man. We should get him on as a guest here at some point. I think would be fun.
Oh yeah, we'll have him as a guest.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I'll see him in 2 weeks.
Heck yeah.
He'll probably stay in my home. I have a beautiful suite for him, and I've invited you to come down when you're in Tampa Bay. I want you to come stay with me for a couple of days.
Absolutely.
Beautiful suite. I got a beautiful place right in Tampa Bay. You'll love it.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
We got pro football. We got baseball. We got hockey. Hell of a hockey team. We got NBA right down the street, 80 miles in Orlando. We got the beaches. We got Hulk Hogan's Paradise's shop and his thing. He has karaoke every Monday night. We got the finest restaurants in the world right here in Tampa Bay.
Oh, man.
Sunshine year round.
I love it. I got to, when I was down there for Royal Rumble, covering Royal Rumble, that was the first time I was down there in St. Pete. and Tampa. And I love St. Pete. It's such a cool little city area and stuff like that. It feels like a South Pittsburgh almost. That's what I kind of
Yes.
vibe.
I was born and raised here, so I'm lucky. I was born right in here, Tampa.
Yeah, you are lucky. That's awesome.
66, be 67 years, August 11th.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Jeez, that's great. Yeah. Hulk Hogan's my dad's age too, by the way. They're the same age.
I think he'll be 71 or 72.
71. He'll be 71. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Exactly. 4 years older than me. Exactly to the day.
How about that? That's crazy. How about that? Both Tampa guys.
Yeah.
So before we get to the topic at hand, wanted to ask you too about a guy you know in the news that got in the news, Too Cold Scorpio, and what happened with him. And I wanted to get your perspective on that. Obviously, you worked with him plenty of times and everything like that. And you guys are good friends, so I wanted to get your perspective on that, Fonzie.
In fact, with Scorpios this Friday, I'm flying into Philadelphia. I'm doing a show at the ECW Arena Saturday. And so I'm flying in Friday. We're having a big dinner at Todd Gordon's house, one of my best friends in the business. Sandman, Todd Gordon, Fonzie, and Too Cold Scorpio. And, of course, Todd's wife and maybe a couple other people. We're getting together for a little celebration. Then Saturday afternoon, we're going to there's a wrestling store on South Street in Philadelphia. It's easy to find on social media. It'll be Sandman, Too Cold, Todd Gordon, and Fonzie signing and, at the wrestling store. And then I have a show that Saturday night, so I'll see Scorpio. He had an unfortunate incident, Scorp is a licensed security. He's a licensed security agent, and he's licensed to carry a gun. He's licensed to carry a billy club. He's licensed to do this. He's licensed to do that. He had to go through all kind of hoops to get his thing, and now he's been doing that for a long time, and he does really well at it. He's very good. So some character who just got, I don't want to elaborate too much, but I'll just give you a little bit. Some character, some big MMA guy, big guy, just got kicked out of a casino. Got kicked out of the casino, and he ended up in the establishment where Scorpio was being a security guard that night in some type of store or whatever. So the guy comes in the store, and he lights a cigarette. It's Scorpio's job. He's a security. Hey, you can't smoke a cigarette. And the guy gets cocky, and Scorpio thought he was going to, attack him, and he was, and they got into a big altercation. The guy ended up getting stabbed a few times, and Scorpio got arrested. But charges are going to be dropped, I'm pretty sure, but he's got to go through some hoops, some legal matters. Scorpio's a great guy. He's a licensed security, licensed to carry a gun, licensed to do this, licensed to do that, defended himself. So we'll let the justice work it out, and I don't think there's going to be a big problem for Scorpio. But he did get arrested, damn it, and it kind of pissed me off that he got they took him off a couple of shows. They took him off of a show because he got arrested. They took him off a show he was on in Japan, and they took him off of that until he gets his name cleared back, and which is going to be no problem. But it's a hassle. Damn it, Scorpio. I feel terrible for you because of the incident, but he did the right thing. He protected himself. This guy was way out of line, and who knows? This guy might have, who knows what this guy was capable of.
That's it, man. It's like
Scorpio put him in his place.
Right, and you were telling me off air how tough of a guy Scorpio is, much like RVD. And
Scorpio is a tough, badass guy. If I ever got in a fight with 10 guys, I would want Scorpio on my side. He is badass. And for him to get in an altercation and have to use some type of instrument to, so the other guy was very intimidating, I guess. I haven't seen a picture of him, but, the MMA guy or whatever. But for Scorpio to, defend himself in the way he did, well, that's what happened.
That's it. So if you're getting put in a situation like that, and like you don't know what a guy is capable of, and you have to you got to defend yourself. That's it. That's the
So if anybody in Philadelphia area, come see me, Sandman, Scorpio, and Todd Gordon at the wrestling store on South Street in the afternoon. You can find it on the internet. Not hard to find. It's right on South Street. It's like 2 blocks from Jim's.
Jim Steaks.
Yes,
I love Jim's Steaks.
That is my favorite place to have Phillies.
That's my favorite cheesesteak, I think. Fonzie.
Yeah. Now they got them at the airport. I just was there Sunday, flying back. I was last Sunday. I was in Indianapolis where the Colts played.
Oh.
And I was with Sandman, Francine, and Shane Douglas. We did a 2-day tour, went around, and we did really well. We did a big show there. And so on the way back, I had to go from Indy to Philly to Tampa. And of course, they got a Pat's, a Geno's, and Jim's on South Street in the airport now.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. So I had a 2-hour layover. So of course I bypassed Pat's and all that. I went right to Jim's. But the problem is, in the airport, the steaks are $19.
Oh yeah. You can't.
Well worth it. But still $19. You know this. But you know, I ate 2 of them.
Did you get it with or without?
I get it with provolone.
Do you? That's what I do too.
Yeah, I don't like the cheese whiz. Todd
like
bears and loves the cheese, that cheese melted yellow stuff. I do not like. You know, not for me. I get my little provolone with a splash of mayonnaise, and I'm happy as hell.
Yes, you can't beat that. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I ate 2 of them.
Oh man. Okay, so guys, the store that you want to go to in Philadelphia is Suplex Vintage Wrestling on South Street.
That's it, Daddy. Yes, we're going to be there Saturday afternoon. Scorpio. We got a lot of recognition in the last few days. Any publicity is good publicity, but you know, so Scorpio, Sandman, my dear friend Sandman, Todd Gordon, the founder of ECW, my goodness, and me, Bill Fonzie, Alfonso, we're going to be there signing stuff and giving stuff away. So come check us out. We're raising money for Scorpio's defense attorney.
So what day is that again, Fonzie? What day?
This Saturday.
This Saturday. So that is...
So it'll be the 6th.
Yes, the 6th, July 6th.
Yeah.
If you're in Philadelphia, go and check it out. It looks like an awesome store. I've never been. That must be new.
And if you say, hey, I was listening to you guys on the podcast, that's why I'm here, I'll give you a free 8x10.
There you go, guys. So, yeah, tell them right down the middle sent you here.
Yes. If you say that, come up to me and say that, I'll give you a free 8x10, a badass picture. And, of course, you can buy something from the other guys. Buy a pig for Scorpio. We're raising money. But you get an 8x10 comp from me.
There you go.
A good one too. Maybe one like this.
Ooh, maybe something like that. Heck yeah.
All kind of cool picks.
No doubt. Guys, too, if you're just tuning in, you can see the little ticker tape down there below. If you use the super chat, you'll enter to win ECW, RVD, and Fonzie tracksuit. It looks awesome. And Fonzie is willing to give it away to anybody that uses the super chat over the next 2 episodes that we do. So get your super chats in there. We already got One True Sport member Liam Evans already did. He's asking a question. We'll be sure to ask that during the Gonzalez talk. And then we got Eddie Prather, also a One True Sport member. So he's looking forward to the Gonzalez talk too. So both of those guys entered. And if you want to enter to win that, use the super chat and you'll automatically be entered to win that. We'll announce the winner within the month, because we do these every 2 weeks. So probably the 3rd episode that we do after this, we'll announce the winner on that. So, but get your super chats in, ask a question at the same time, and you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You enter into the contest, and you get a question to ask to Fonzie. So, be happy to do that. What else do I want to talk about here? There's something else I thought. Maybe not. But we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Giant Gonzalez, Fonzie. I'm excited to get your perspective on him. Like I said, today we're talking about Giant Gonzalez and El Gigante. Jorge Gonzalez was born in 1966 and got his start in professional wrestling after being signed on by Ted Turner to play basketball for the Atlanta Hawks. But it didn't work out. A natural fit as an attraction in the industry. When did you first meet Gonzalez, Fonzie, and how did you guys hit it off immediately? Did you hit it off immediately?
It was like we met in, I think it was 91, where we did that big show in Japan, Fujinami and Ric Flair, 65,000 people at the Tokyo Dome. I refereed the main event and also refereed Giant Gonzalez against Curtis Hughes. Remember Curtis Hughes?
Oh yeah.
Kid, fucking badass.
Yep.
They had a match and I refereed it, and Giant Gonzalez fell in love with me. In Japan, and especially a big show, like the Tokyo Dome, there was 65,000 paid people to watch Flair and Fujinami, and I refereed the main event. Of course, I got lucky. And so there's a lot of photographers at the ring, and ringside. There's like not two photographers. It's not like Bill Apter and George taking pictures. I mean, there's 15, 20, 25 photographers shooting for all kind of Japanese magazines and all kind of stuff. So after Curtis Hughes got beat by Giant Gonzalez 1, 2, 3, I raised Giant Gonzalez's hand, and boy, this photographer started shooting pictures. So I said, let me get his size over. So I jumped on the second turnbuckle and called Giant Gonzalez over, and I got his hand up, and they start taking pictures, and Giant Gonzalez started walking away, and I pulled him back and said, stay right here. So they must have shot 20 or 30 different, 40 or 50 different pictures of us standing, and they made the cover of the largest sports magazine in Japan. That picture right there, this is the sports magazine in Japan, made the cover.
That's awesome.
I emphasized the size by jumping on the second rope, and the photographers loved it. And of course, for some reason, it made the cover of the magazine. That was the first time I met him.
Wow.
I met Giant Gonzalez that day in Japan. We flew over from Atlanta to Tokyo together with me and Sting. There was a host of guys. There was, the Steiners and Flair and Curtis Hughes and the Steiner boys and a couple other people. All big names. Orrin Anderson, Barry Windham, and I got an 8x10 somewhere of all of us. So I did something for Gonzalez that week that we spent together. I did something like, the old story where the mouse pulls the splinter out of the tiger's paw?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They become best friends.
Yes.
I forgot exactly what I did for Gonzalez, but I got him out of a little jam. I did something for him to make his life easier instantly. And we hit it off, not so much because of that. We just hit it off. Mm-hmm. We became inseparable. And in fact, I wasn't working for WCW. I didn't have a contract yet. So after that night, I did so well in the main event, Fujinami and Ric Flair. And then I made the cover of the magazine, and I did this. And Dusty called me aside and says, Fonzie, it's going to happen for you, baby. You know how Dusty talks. Fonzie, it's going to happen for you, baby. I'm going to have Jody Hamilton call you. And Jody Hamilton called me when we got back, and I flew to Atlanta, and I got a 6-figure contract with being a referee for Ted Turner for WCW because of Dusty. I love Dusty, and I worked with him in Florida from 1980 until the territory closed, and I was out of work for about 3 or 4 months. I didn't want to work. I just had to work 10 years every freaking night for 10 years without hardly any time off. So I was taking a couple of months off. Then I was going to try and call Dusty and get in WCW, but he called me. They called me to referee the main event in Tokyo, and then they offered me the contract, and I signed, of course. And then Giant Gonzalez signed too. But here's the deal. Giant Gonzalez, I met him in Japan. We worked on that same show, and I did, I pulled the splinter out of the mouse, pulled the splinter out of the tiger's paw, and they became best friends. So Dusty saw that, and Dusty said, Fonzie, baby, you're my number one referee in Florida, and I want you to be my number one referee in WCW too, but I got something to ask you, baby. I want you to be the personal assistant for Giant Gonzalez, the largest athlete on the planet at that time. The other guy who wasn't really playing yet was Ming. He played for Houston, played for the Rockets, the big Chinese kid.
Oh, yeah, Yao Ming.
Yeah, he was as tall as Gonzalez, but he wasn't around yet. So Gonzalez was actually at that time the tallest athlete on the planet. Nobody as tall as Giant Gonzalez. And Dusty asked me to be his personal assistant. And of course I said yes. And Giant Gonzalez was thrilled because we already were kind of good friends and we became best friends. We really rode together every day for 3 years. We didn't leave each other's side. Uh, and did really well together. Worked for WCW, went to Vince, did WrestleMania 9. Let's see, where's that WrestleMania 9
Oh,
right
you got
here?
it right on your other side there. Yep.
Yeah, WrestleMania 9, Dad, Caesar's Palace. There he is.
Oh,
And
there
one
it
of the
is.
main events against the Undertaker. And look who's calling it right down the middle, Daddy. That would be Fonzie. Here he is with Tatanka. He had a match with Tatanka. Remember the Tatanka, the big famous
Oh yeah.
Indian?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Work for, and of course, I'm refereeing the match. But so we got along really good, really well. And they didn't have to pay me extra. Dusty said, we're going to pay you extra on top of your small six-figure contract for refereeing. Ted Turner, you get paid pretty good. Turner, you're the big, did you know Turner is the largest bison owner on the planet? Nobody owns more bison than Ted Turner.
Seriously, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a big bison farm.
What?
And he owns Atlanta Hawks, he owns CNN, he owns this, he owns CBS, he owns that, he owns all kinds of, one of the richest, top 100 richest people in the world. Anyway, So he pays well. So Dusty said, we're going to pay you extra for taking care of the Giant, And I would have done it. I thought it was a privilege to be traveling with the Giant. Me and him, the largest athlete on the planet, they put me with him, and we got along good. And, man, that was pretty cool. And so I got a bonus for doing that. I got paid extra for doing that, which they didn't have to. I would have paid them to let me be with the Giant. We got all kind of perks and extra things. Movies we did. I was on the set. Baywatch with Pamela Anderson. They wanted Giant Gonzalez to be on that, and they flew us both out. And I'm playing volleyball on the beach, and Giant Gonzalez has an actual part in the show and the episode. I know I'm just playing volleyball, but I'm in the background. Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan, on his television series. So all kind of perks. So I get a call one day. My cell phone rings, and I'm working for Ted Turner. And I answer the phone and said, hello. He said, Fonzie? I said, yeah. He said, Ted Turner. I thought it was a rib.
Yeah.
I told this story to you. I thought it was a rib. Ted Turner. I said, hello, Mr. Turner. Call me Ted. Hey, Ted, how you doing? And I thought it was one of the boys, but eventually I knew it was Ted Turner. He said, I got a favor to ask you. I said, yes, sir. I'll ask away. He said, well, the Atlanta Braves are doing really good. They're winning World Series. They won 2-3 World Series in a row. And he said, I would like you to go take Giant Gonzalez, because he knew I was Giant Gonzalez's personal assistant, He said, I would like you to take Giant Gonzalez to one of our baseball games, and I want you to sit in my suite where me and Jimmy Carter would sit and watch the ball game. But me and Jimmy won't be there, but I want you guys sitting there, and I want the camera to pan over and say, oh my God, look, there's the largest athlete on the planet. The Braves are bringing out everybody, including the largest athlete on the planet. And it doesn't say, and Fonzie too. I just happen to be sitting next to him, but they don't mention my name. But that was pretty cool. So perks like that, We go to a restaurant and you'd order a couple of steaks and, and the managers were amazed at, how many, we never asked for nothing. We were making good money. We wanted to pay our way, but hell, if the manager of a steakhouse is going to come for your dinner, why are you going to say no?
Why not?
Or take a picture with them. We got so many perks like that. It was crazy. So many cool things. And the women loved them. Oh my God. And I'm not talking about girls at the arena, not the wrestling fan girls that are kind of hang out with the boys. They like the guys. I mean, him and I would go into like the Mall of America and we'd be walking around. We'd have housewife, because he was a tall, good-looking Spanish kid. He didn't have, he had the Giants disease. There's a name for it, Ganseism or whatever it is. And it makes your jaw protrude and your bones grow and your forehead big and your odd shape, your face structure, your body starts changing. He didn't have that yet. So he was just big. He didn't have that Giants disease full-fledged yet. So he was a really good-looking kid, long hair, beautiful. And the women loved him. So we'd go to the mall. We'd have housewives follow. They were curious. And he was charming. He charmed the pants right off him. And he did.
Oh,
He
yeah?
did. I'm not talking about wrestling groupies. I'm talking about housewives and different people, not wrestling girls.
Yeah.
So I got a story about that. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I'm married now. But something happened. If you're interested in hearing like a crazy story.
Well, yeah. So that's actually in the notes. I hear. So we have what is it here? Yeah, you told the fun story about having to be the opening act for Giant.
Okay, let me tell the story.
Okay, tell the story.
So my job, Dusty hired me to be the assistant for the largest athlete on the planet, and we traveled together. He didn't. It wasn't demanding, but it was my job, and we wouldn't have ever split a room. We'd say at the Marriott, I'd be in 601, he'd be in 602. I'd be right next to him, in case he needed something. So it'd be usual for me to get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "Hey, Fonzie, I'm sorry, but I'm a little hungry. Would you mind?" I said, "What do you want, Giant? You name anything on the planet, I'm going to find it for you."
Yeah.
And that's my job. You go get him a hamburger, 6 hamburgers or a steak or whatever you want. It's my job. And I get paid for it. Plus, I enjoy doing stuff like that for him. So I get a phone call. And I said, "Hey, Giant, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you want, Daddy? 6 hamburgers?" He said, "No, I want you to come to my room." I said, "Okay." I'm 602 and he's in 603. So I walk right to his room. I knock on the door and he opens the door. He's naked. "Well, you answered the door naked." He opens the door a little more, and there's the girl that we met at the mall earlier. She looked like, since I mentioned Pamela Anderson earlier, because we did wear a Baywatch, she looked like Pamela Anderson. She was blonde hair, a fantastic body, and she waved to me, "Hey, Fonzie." And I said, "Well, what can I do for you guys?" He said, "We got a problem." I said, "What, John? What possibly problem can you have? You got a beautiful girl there." And he says, "Well, listen, my dick is fat like that, and I can't get it inside her. I want you to jump on her and warm her up for me, then you leave." And now I'm turning red. I'm embarrassed. But then I felt okay because the girl said, "Please help us, Fonzie. Please, can you mind coming over here and doing me for a couple minutes?" And, why couldn't he? Anyway, so my job that night was not to go get the largest athlete on the planet a hamburger. My job was to warm up a beautiful Pamela Anderson lookalike blonde begging me to jump on her to warm her up for the Giant Gonzalez. And that's what happened. And he never forgot. He thanked me all that. "Oh, remember, Fonzie, when he warmed up the girl?" That was only a one-time deal. That wasn't very unusual. I've got plenty of phone calls where he says, "Fonzie, go give me 6 eggs scrambled with 8 pieces of bacon and 3 pieces of toast and hash brown." So I get phone calls like that all the time, but not too many phone calls where I had to warm up a beautiful girl that we met in the mall.
How about that, man? That's some great personal assistance right there.
Story, right?
Yeah, that's you are quite the personal assistant.
How many people can say they warm up a girl for the largest athlete on the planet?
That's it.
I can.
You can. You got it. That's awesome. Well, so before we dive deep into a little bit more about Giant and his career, you stated on a previous podcast that the BBC was interested in interviewing about his career and being his handler. Any updates on that, those talks, and we could see a potential documentary going on?
Yeah, I did. I did the BBC.
Yeah.
I did the BBC. And it went fantastic. And I think it already aired or something. I've done so many interviews in the last, I don't know why I'm not in demand, but fucking.
You've been all over though, Fonzie.
For some reason, I've been around a long time and they like me. For some reason, they want to do interviews with me. In fact, we talked about MLW and them coming to Tampa. They're doing a show at the Coliseum in Tampa. And one of the sports writers for one of the largest newspapers in Florida, the Tampa Times, they got over 1.5 million subscribers to their paper. So they called me and said, "Hey, Fonzie, my name's Paul Portinato, and I'm the sports editor for the Tampa sports section of the Tampa newspaper. Would you be interested in doing an article with us? We'll put it in a newspaper, and you're a Florida kid, you work for Eddie Graham and this and that. So I did a over the phone interview with the sports editor for the newspaper, and they asked me about my career, how I got started, and Tampa kid, and I mentioned how I got started and who I worked for and this and that. They want to know my injuries and they want to know where I've been and so on and so on. And they said, "Oh, you got a show coming up in Tampa." And they let me talk about that. They interviewed my neighbors, my childhood neighbors growing up. They interviewed Court Bowers, who runs and is the CEO of MLW, and Barry Rose is a big promoter here. He runs wrestling cons all the time, and they did a big article on me in the Tampa newspaper, and they didn't just put a little picture in there. They put a huge picture of me in the MLW here, and they talked about Fonzie still bleeds after 45 years, and they talked about all my things, and they talked about the MLW show, so it's going to do big business. I predict a sellout, so if you guys are interested, please come and check in. There's tickets left. It's not this weekend. I'm in Philadelphia, but the following weekend, July 12th, it's a Friday in St. Pete at the Coliseum Historical Building. You guys know it. We ran ECW there. We should sell it out. There's still seats available. Come check us out. Because I know we're going to have a big crowd. Not because of me in the article, but that sure helps. Sensational matches lined up. My God, Matthew Justice, my boy Matthew Justice, is in one of the main events, and it's a weird type of match.
It's a 3 stages of destruction match.
Yes, the first one to bleed, the first one to get carried out in an ambulance, or the first one or something. I quit. It's going to be freaking crazy. So there's going to be blood, sweat, and tears, and I hope the blood's not mine.
That's it. You're still bleeding, though. That's what the article says, at least.
Yeah, we got a great write-up, and Court Bowers loved it, So I don't know how I do it, but I'm still relevant today, Dominic, for some reason.
That's it. But you got that connected personality, Fonzie. That's what it is. That's
what they said in the newspaper. That's what my I'd love to read it to you, but it's a huge article, so I don't, it'll take 20 minutes to read it.
I wonder if it's online. I wonder if we can read it online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it sure is. It's TampaBayTimes.com.
All right. I have to take a look.
And it's easy to find. Just put Bill Alfonso article, and it'll pop right up. TampaBay.com, Times newspaper. Tampa Times newspaper, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It came out online first because the newspaper doesn't come out every day like it used to years ago.
Right.
Comes out 2 or 3 times a week. Comes out on this day, comes out on Wednesday, which is today. That's why I have them sitting right here. I went and bought 3 copies. They said they were going to send me a bunch of copies, but I went out and bought a few, and just so I can have, how people like to collect shit. My wife said,
yeah.
"Oh, you need more shit like you need a hole in your head."
I know. I'm the same way, Fonzie. I'm the same way. I got too much shit in here.
1980, 1980. But
look at that. What's that one?
American Dream, Dusty Baby.
Dusty Baby.
I love it. I got stuff from years ago, letters from fans from 1981 thanking me for taking time out to sign his daughter's in a wheelchair. I go way out of my way for the fans, and I love it. That's my job. I'm a good PR guy.
Yeah,
and
you are.
Somebody that's has any type of disability and comes to the show, and I really put those guys over and get them backstage insurance, whatever. That's just make. And I'm not trying to buy my way to heaven. It's just the right thing to do.
It is, yeah. You're a great guy, Fonzie. It's been cool to do this show.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
I got my bad moments too.
Well, I think what we'll do is we got a good amount of notes. So what we're going to do is we'll cover Giant Gonzalez's time in WCW. And then the next episode, what we'll do is cover his time in the WWF. So,
okay.
So guys, if you are just tuning in, whether it's on Twitter or you're tuning in on RVDTV.com or you're tuning in on OneTrueSportTV.com, use the super chat. It automatically enters you into a contest to win an ECW tracksuit featuring Fonzie, RVD, and Sabu on it. We want to give it away. Fonzie's all about doing giveaways with the fans and stuff like that, and he wanted to do this. So check it out here. I'll get a little click in and zoom on there. But yeah, all you have to do is use the super chat, and that automatically enters you into the contest to win that sweet tracksuit. It's got the sweatpants. It's got the hoodie. It looks awesome. I would definitely wear that. No doubt about it. So, guys, that could be yours too. Use the super chat.
It's beautiful. It's not a Nike. I have Nike stuff, but this is a beautiful.
That looks great. Either way, it looks great. So, guys, definitely use the super chat and get the word out, and then ask a question while you're at it too, and we'll be happy to answer it. Fonzie will be happy to answer it for you. So, a lot of good stuff going on here. But let's from WCW. What was the locker room perception of El Gigante coming in at the time when Andre the Giant was just wrapping up his full-time run in the World Wrestling Federation? Was his signing viewed as a victory, even though it was known from the onset that working with him in the ring would have been a little tough? Were there individuals willing to try to squeeze the diamond out of the coat? Was it like out of the coal? Was it like how was he?
Giant Gonzalez was so amazing to be around and so big and so unusual that everybody took a liking to him, and we wanted him to succeed. And he wasn't, he wasn't a natural. He was a natural athlete because he played basketball in Europe, played European basketball, and he was really good. They brought him over to play for the Atlanta Hawks. You got to be pretty fucking good for them to consider to bring you over from Europe to come play NBA basketball. You got to be pretty fucking good, and he was. It wasn't just his size. But he couldn't pass the NBA inspection because his knees were starting to give out a little bit. And he said, unfortunately, Giant Gonzalez, we can't use you in the NBA, but Ted Turner also owns this, he owns that, he owns a thing called wrestling company. And Giant Gonzalez said, wrestling? What's that? Never heard of it, never seen it. So we trained them. They said, don't worry. They paid them to train, and they trained him for about 7 or 8 months to learn how to wrestle and learn how to be a giant. And, of course, he's not going to do sunset flips and regular stuff. He's going to do giant stuff, giant things. Speaking of giants, here's some black and white. This is how long I've been around this. Black and white pictures of me refereeing Andre the Giant's matches.
Wow, look at that.
He stepped on my foot in 1982 and it still hurts today.
I believe it.
That's a true story. He cracked my bone, that top bone in my right foot, and about once or twice a year, my foot swells up. I thought it was the gout, because I'm getting older and I drank and I eat steaks and all that. I thought I had the gout or something. Went to the doctor and he said, no, you got a hairline fracture and it didn't heal properly. That's why it swells up here. That's from Andre the Giant. So that's a true story. Giant stepped on my foot in 1982 and it still hurts. Great story. But
that's crazy.
So they trained Giant Gonzalez, and when he was ready, they put his outfit on and called him Giant Gonzalez. I mean, El Gigante. Called him El Gigante. And he was so amazing that people wanted to see him succeed. So they would go out of our way, even though he wasn't a natural in the ring, but he kind of got it. And they weren't asking him to do stuff, regular stuff. They asked him to throw him into the big foot or put the claw on him or choke slam somebody or, body slam, but no normal shit. So he did, 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things, and that's all he had to do. His size got him over. So we went out of our way. Everybody in the locker room, from the referees to all the wrestlers to the agents, went out of their way to help this guy succeed. And he did pretty damn good. Even though he wasn't fantastic in the ring, he didn't have to be. His size is what got him over.
That's what does it exactly. He had a presence about him, and it's cool he had a good personality and everything like that, huh? So
he was great. Yeah, people loved him. He was a joker. He was he was smart. He was witty. He was handsome. He was polite. He was debonair. He dressed nice, and people liked him. Like when I first met him, we got along. Boom, we were naturals together. We just loved each other. He's a very likable guy. The women liked him, the wrestlers liked him, everybody liked him.
Well, did his signing come out of the time when Ric Flair still had the book in WCW? Who were some of his biggest advocates behind the scenes for him, like wanting to see him succeed? Did he have some guys?
Everybody wanted to see him succeed.
Yeah.
Because they knew he wasn't going to be Andre the Giant, and they knew he was only going to be around for limited time, because he was starting to have health issues after about a year in business. He became diabetic, not a heavy diabetic, but we had to watch his blood sugar, and then had to take medicine for diabetes, and his joints start hurting him, and the Giant's disease started taking over a little more and more. His joints were having problems, so we knew he wasn't long for the wrestling business. So we're going to get out of him what we could for the next 3 years. So he was in the business 3 years. He lasted 3 years, and he got out by choice. He could have stayed another 4 or 5 years, but he said, I made enough money. I made, Turner paid me really well. He was very frugal with his money, not cheap, like, he would buy my lunch but smart with his money. So he made enough money to go home. He said, okay, Fonzie, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to go home and spend the rest of my life, because I'm not going to live long. Andre the Giant died at the age of 43 or 47. He said, I'm going to die the same. That was heartbreaking when the Giant told me, Fonzie, I'm going to die soon. The Giants don't live long. And it used to fucking kill me. Still to this day, if I think about the day he told me that, I could start crying. But it's hard, God bless him. But people were on his side. We knew we didn't have him for a long time in the wrestling business, so we're going to take advantage of having the largest athlete on the planet in the ring. And he did quite well. Well, look, he was Vince McMahon liked him well enough to put him in WrestleMania 9 in one of the main events against the Undertaker. And of course, I caught it right down the middle. WrestleMania 9, that's the biggest platform on the planet. What's bigger than WrestleMania?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So for him to be, he was good enough to work with the Undertaker. They didn't have a barn burner match like Flair and Jerry Lynn, but they had a hell of a little thing. Good enough for WrestleMania 9.
Absolutely. As you're working with him in WCW, did you have an itch to be his manager at the time?
No, because they just brought me in the referee, and I was in. I had no desire to be a manager. I just wanted to keep working and be a referee,
Yeah.
And the referee and the managing part came in with Paul Heyman, my dear friend Paul. You see him up there somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Heyman. That didn't come into play until I went to ECW, and I came in as a referee. I just left WWF, and they brought me in because Vince McMahon wanted the doctor, his wife, and the 2 kids at ringside. ECW was 90% male from the age of 19 to 32. Violent, blood, sweat, and tears, and tables, and thumbtacks, and shit. So they brought me in to be anti-ECW since I came from WWF. They wanted me to try to turn the ECW to WWF family entertainment. People wanted to fucking kill me. So my original deal was I signed a 4-week contract with Paul Heyman. Said, for 4 weeks, will you be anti-ECW? 911 and choke slam me, and you're done. Thank you, Fonzie. But people started hating me. My gimmick got so over that Paul Heyman said, Fonzie, we're going to turn you into a manager. And they put me with Taz, and then they put me with Van Dam and Sabu. I was there, did 22 pay-per-views and on top for the whole time I was there.
The rest of history. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I had desire to be, and I would have, but it might have backfired. I don't know what would have happened. It might have backfired, but I think I was better at refereeing because I would help. I was in the ring with them, and I could help them in the ring more than I could as manager on the floor. I'd have to yell, hey, get him in the choke slam, grab a hold. I would walk him through his matches. He would ask me, Fonzie, what do I do next? Say, oh, grab him, and stuff. I would help him get through the matches. So I was better off being a referee. And I enjoyed it.
That's a great
work with tons of people, not just one guy. I got to work with anybody you can name, from Bam Bam Bigelow to Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, to Scott, you name it, and I've worked with them.
we'll definitely have to cover those in future episodes, no doubt. Oh man, that's awesome. That's a great perspective too, helping them
Here's
out.
a WCW picture for Ted Turner, me, and Giant Gonzalez. I'm all
Nice.
suited up. We're at a convention. Or we might have been in Japan doing some PR work. So that's WCW.
Heck yeah. What was your overall perception of WCW at the time, Fonzie?
I thought it was great because you remember that it was I just had worked from 1980 and I worked in territories. You know, Florida was a territory, Mid Atlantic was Jim Crockett was a territory, Bill Watts was in Louisiana, Texas was the Von Erichs and Joe Blanchard, Tully Blanchard's dad, and the Funks. Oregon was Don Owens, and Minnesota was this guy, and Michigan was all kind of different territories. So the territories were closing up, and there was the big two, WWF and WCW. And oh my God, for me to get accepted to go work for WCW, Ted Turner, 605 on TBS, are you kidding me? I thought it was fantastic. And and Dusty was in charge. I just had work with Dusty. I was Dusty's left-hand man in Florida. You know, I was one of his personal assistants in Florida. Was referee. He called me his number one referee. Loved me because I worked hard. And I thought WC was sensational. Man, we had big names there from Flair to Sting to Barry Windham. All the guys, Steiners, everybody you can think of came through there. Double A, Orton Anderson, I just saw recently at a big convention. I see a lot of the guys, which is thrilling for me to see guys that I've worked with for the last 40 years. In fact, I'm going to Cauliflower Alley, where Van Damme and Sabu lives in Las Vegas, and I'm getting an award. I'm getting accepted in the Cauliflower Alley Lifetime Achievement Award referee, and I'm getting into their Hall of Fame, which is pretty thrilling. That's coming up August 19th. We're there for 3 days.
I'm going to be there too, Fonzie. I'm going to make an effort.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're going to have a nice dinner together. I can't wait for you to meet my Christine.
Oh, absolutely. That'll be a blast. I'm excited too for it.
Tom's expecting us, and he's going to have all the 420 we could possibly smoke, and he's going to probably take us out to dinner. And, I love Van Damme, and I love Katie. Oh, she's so cool.
Oh, she's awesome. Katie's awesome.
I love Katie.
It's so cool to see them together and be happy and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness, I'm so thrilled for Van Damme. I'm so happy. And I wanted to personally take the minute out to thank Van Damme for having the faith in me and helping me with my podcast, getting me together, giving me the push. And he's got another venture going that's going to open up pretty soon. And I'm signing up with that. And I'm thrilled that Van Damme has the faith in me and likes me well enough and thinks I can do well on my own podcast and pushing for me and being an advocate for me and helping me out, not holding my hand, just said, Fonzie, we want you to do, and he likes me, we get along well. We did fantastic business together.
You guys did. Yep, absolutely.
So, thank Van Damme for his support.
He's a great dude.
Too. I love Katie.
Yeah, Katie and him both are great.
Guys, Daddy.
Yes. And you can actually tune in tomorrow live, 4th of July. If you want to close out your 4th of July the right way, you can tune in to RVD. Me and him going live at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that.
I'm tuning in, Daddy. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Van Damme doesn't just talk about wrestling, but he's he's a very smart guy. He's good with his money. He's made money. He's good with his money. He's politically correct. He's not afraid to bring up topics that people are taboo. He speaks his mind. You know what I mean? And he's usually he always does a very good job at what he does.
Absolutely.
He doesn't talk about it unless he knows. He doesn't guess. He's not a guesser. I guess that it'll be all right. I guess this guy. No, Van Damme's got, he speaks the truth.
He speaks the truth. Yeah, and it's so neat. He does his RVDologies at the end of the show, so he gives like a philosophical advice. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I feel blessed to be able to do the show with him a lot.
Yeah, and he's smart, and he believes the good side. The good and bad side in life. He's on the good side, believes in the karma and all that, and it works for him. Yeah, it works for me too.
Absolutely. Did you see his A&E biography yet? Did you get a chance to
I
watch
was
it?
all over it. I didn't get a chance to see it yet.
It's great, Fonzie. It's great. You will really like it.
I don't have a speaking part in it, but I'm in some footage of me managing them, so I'm throwing them in a chair and doing something. Yep. I've heard I'm in it. I haven't seen it, but
you'll really like it, Fonzie, when you get a chance.
Yeah, I can't wait. In fact, I might look at it tonight.
Why not? Tune on in. It's good stuff, guys. I highly recommend. And that's what we talked about on the last episode. So, guys, if you want to tune in, check it out on rvdtv.com and give it a watch, because Rob I asked him some questions. He's got some great stories that aren't on the documentary. So be sure.
Oh, yeah. RVD's got fantastic stories. And what a tough guy, too.
Yeah.
And boy, he made my job easy when, he didn't invent a lot of stuff, but who was jumping from doing an event the coast to coast from one turnbuckle?
Yeah, Van Terminator. We talked about that, Fonzie. We went in depth about that. Him doing the Van Terminator and how nobody did that at that juncture. And I told him too. I was just a kid at the time watching ECW, and when I saw him first do it, I was like, I didn't know that's humanly possible for somebody to do.
And usually a lot of guys can't do that because Van Damme's got these thighs on him. He's naturally gifted. Plus, he works his ass off in the gym, and he excels his thigh. But, man, God gave him extra something, which a lot of guys, nobody was doing at the time. He does all kinds of stuff. He's in the World Book, the Guinness World Book of Records of him doing the split, holding up the
Van Damme lift. Yep.
And I'm right behind
you. You are there.
Yeah. So he holds the record. I think some guy might have broke it.
He did.
But Van Damme held it for a long time. And that's how limber Van Damme is. And he believes in stretching. So all you young, talented, future superstars of professional wrestling, take Van Damme's advice. Make sure you stretch and you warm up before your matches, or else you burn yourself out. That's what's giving him longevity. That's one of his secrets. Yeah. It's no secret. He shares it, but he believes in stretching.
Stretching,
stretch. Warm up.
That's been the whole thing of him too. Yeah, he's all about that, and and man, he still can go. Hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah, he's badass. Yeah, I've done several shows with him in the last year. We did a big show at Kellogg's Arena, Battle Creek. Sold half the building out. They just have one side sold out. We worked with Brian Cage. Had a hell of a match. We just did something recently. We had another hell of a match. We do podcasts. We do signings. We do all kinds of stuff together. We were just at WrestleMania in Philadelphia. We did a show together at the ECW Arena. I managed him at the ECW Arena. I forgot who we worked with, but he beat his ass, and we had a sensational match.
Mike Speedball, Mike Bailey. I was there for that.
Oh, yeah. Had a great 1-2, bam, bam, bam. And he hasn't missed a beat, like you said. And he's no spring chicken. Van Damme's not 21 no more.
No.
He's not 21, but
he moves like he is, though.
He still goes, and I believe what he says. His longevity is about stretching and taking care of his body and hitting the gym and warming up before these matches. A lot of guys going cold in the rip. Well, you get hurt anyway, but you preventative is what he's doing with all the stretching and stuff.
All the stretching helps out. It definitely helps out. Yeah, guys. Be sure to get your chat in. Use your super chat. Get entered into the contest to win the track jacket there, the track suit there, and just
it's beautiful Puma. Yeah,
beautiful stuff. Fonzie, so Gonzalez, he winds up wrestling a handful of matches with the Horsemen, of all people. He teamed with Paul Orndorff and the Junkyard Dog at 1990 Great American Bash against Sid, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham. This is about as protected as one could be, wrestling with some of the best of all time in tag team scenarios. Do you think that's ultimately the best way to use Giant Gonzalez was in these kind of situations?
No. You can use them in singles. I think that was the bigger attraction in singles, but put him in the tag match made his life easier. And when everybody wrestled and they finally tagged the Giant in, boy, when the Giant stepped over that top rope, got in the ring, it's the guys he's working with, their job to put him over. Oh my God. And people fucking loved it. People loved it. They want to see their Giant get their hands on these bad guys, and he did. And thank God he had good guys to work with. You know, Double A and Barry. Who's better than those guys? Nobody. So he could go. Giant Gonzalez was very useful in a single match and as well as the tag match.
As well, yeah.
Made his life a little easier in the tag matches, but you know, he did well in his singles. Look, who's right here? WrestleMania 9 doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania 9. That doesn't. It gets bigger than WrestleMania 9, but doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania is what I meant to say.
Right, exactly. Any memories of what someone was like Arn Anderson or Barry Windham would have had to say about working with Gonzalez back at the time? Like what they thought about working?
I heard no negativity because why bring up negativity? Bring up positivity just to help him. You know, if there was something negative that he did in the ring, like he did a move and fucked the move up a little bit, they would help him and correct it so we didn't have that same move happen again. You know, they'd say, hey, Giant, you know, when you threw me in and brought up the big foot, you should have brought it up a little bit higher and let me run into your foot. Don't put it out there and try to hit me with your foot. I'm going to run and take the bump. So they gave him corrective criticism in a good way. No negativity. None of those guys. Like I said, he was charming, had a good personality, and we all wanted to see him succeed because we knew he wasn't going to be around long. We knew we had him for 3 or 4 years, and that was it. You know, so get as much as we can out of him. So everybody was on his side. And
absolutely,
easy to like.
And that's part of the job too. They understand that's part of the job.
Thank you. Yes, part of the job. Hell yeah.
That's
no negativity.
Yeah.
And there was some of that in dressing rooms all over. In every dressing room in the country, there's, you know, animosity and this guy. Well, I should be in the main event, but not with the Giant. There's only one Giant, you know. And Andre was him, and then Andre finished it up, and it was Giant Gonzalez's turn. So, you know, everybody wanted to see him. Like, nobody gave shit to Andre.
Nope.
You know?
Nobody gave shit to Andre for sure.
No, he was a seasoned veteran, been around the business for years and years and years. But, you know, even though back in the day, nobody gave him no shit.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, and the same with Gonzalez. They had respect because he was an athlete. He played basketball. He was a professional. He was charming. He dressed good. He this, he that. So, yeah, he got pats on the back by everybody. Everybody wanted to be around the Giant for a little while.
Yeah, can't blame him there either.
And a great guy. What a damn good guy, man. I took him to my home. My parents, my mom had a beautiful lake house in Tampa, and took him home. And my mom treated him like his own kid, you know. And we have the golf buggy. We had 10 acres of orange trees and a lake and that. And we spent a week there. We had a week off, which is very unusual for us to have. It wasn't a week. It was like 5 days or something. So we flew into Tampa. Sometimes you can't fly to Argentina and spend days there and then come back. We can't do it 5 days. It's just too much. So you come home with me, and then we had a ball. And he loved it. And, I was his best friend in the United States for 3 years.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a tandem. What a big help you were too. Obviously, we talked about it in certain ways too.
All kind of ways. But
so
too, you know, I was known as Giant Gonzalez handler. Hey, I got a phone call from Ted Turner. Hey, Fonzie, would you mind bringing the Giant and sitting in my seat in my press where me and Jimmy Carter would sit? You know. Not a bad gig, right?
Not a bad gig. Another big man that he wrestled against was Sid in a stretcher match in the first ever Super Brawl. And he beat Sid he got a win over the future WWE champion. Do you have any memories interacting with Psycho Sid either while his time during there or in ECW?
Yeah, Sid was cool. Sid was a little tough, and he let people know it. You know what I mean? And he wasn't tough with just guys that were not as famous as or not the middle guys or job guys or middle guys. He was tough on everybody, you know. He would in fact he was a little too tough sometimes because he was not hurting people but just a little stiff, but he didn't mind getting his ass beat either. And I liked it. Him and I got along well. For some reason I get along with everybody. And that night that he worked with Giant Gonzalez, he knew he couldn't take advantage of Giant Gonzalez because of his size, and I'm not saying Sid took advantage of guys, but he sure did work hard and beat the fuck out of a lot of guys. But I kind of remember that match. We talked about it a little bit in the dressing room, and he knew Giant Gonzalez wasn't a premier worker. He knew he had to work around his disabilities. He's a fresh guy in the business. He's a new guy in the business, but they were using him. He was the Giant. So we got a lot out of it. And thanks, Sid, for doing the job for Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what a presence he is too, man.
Yeah, I don't remember the match. I wish I could probably Google the match and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to tune in too. First ever Super Bowl, guys. If you're interested, take a look, tune in, and check it out. Hey, a crazy match I also competed in was the Chamber of Horrors match in 1991 at WCW Halloween Havoc.
Well, Halloween Havoc, I was going to say.
Yeah. And that featured some great workers like Mick Foley, Scott Hall, my favorite, the Steiners, and Abdullah the Butcher. Do you have any memories of this match and any fun stories you can share, Fonzie?
Who did he wrestle that night?
So he wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, Scott Hall when he was the Diamond Stud. He wrestled Mick Foley, the Steiners, too. The Steiner brothers were in that match, too.
Was it a big,
big cage? There's an electric chair in the middle.
And the Giant was kind of freaking out because he was locked up. He got lost for a second, but you remember everybody liked him, so everybody was talking to him, hey, do this, and we don't want him to look like an idiot out there.
Yeah.
One wrong thing, and you could look stupid. So we didn't want that to happen, so everybody was on the side, and of course, Abdullah was Abdullah. He's for Abdullah, but he's a little finicky, he's a little temperamental, been around a long time. He thinks he's Abdullah the Butcher, which he is. He believes he should be,
he's living.
Anybody can get beat,
yeah.
And still survive. Look at Sandman. I don't think he won a match in 1998 the whole year. They used to beat him 1, 2, 3 all the time. Didn't matter. His gimmick, he got over, walked out, his music, his intro, his beer can, his cigarette smoking, cane swinging freak. It didn't matter if he won or lost, but to Abdullah, it did matter.
Yeah.
And that was the only one that may have given him a little bit of shit, but I don't think he did. I think it was just maybe my mind, but he got by. We were on that Halloween Havoc and got by and continued to work,
Did he? I know. What a crazy match. I remember renting that video when I was a kid and watching it. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I was intrigued because Scott Hall was in it. And I was like, I didn't know he was this guy, the Diamond Stud. But it was like, you see Abdullah in there. You see Mick Foley in there.
But look at all the characters, man. Yeah. If you tune in, look, Mick Foley, the Steiner brothers were amazing.
Yeah.
Abdullah the Butcher, the tallest athlete on the planet, Giant Gonzalez. And it was crazy. You tune in and you say, what the hell? And Mick Foley's all gimmicked up. You know what I mean, man? Wow. Crazy night. And Halloween Havoc and Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just craziness. Any memories of Giant Gonzalez having singles matches with Vader or Cactus Jack?
Not specifically that something that come into mind, but again, I'm preaching about everybody wanted to have them succeed, and if you can have a match with them and make them look good and still get yourself over to a certain degree, Cactus didn't want him to go out there and he beat the fuck out of Cactus Jack for 10 minutes and then pin him 1, 2, 3. What kind of thing is that? So, and the Giant, God bless him, he's so awkward. I told you he wasn't a natural in the ring, so it was hard for him to sell. Say Vader hit him with a fucking punch, and I can see him sell awkwardly. It wasn't the prettiest sell, but he worked around his disabilities, his non-knowledge in the ring. So they did stuff that he could do. Very rarely that they asked him to do stuff that he couldn't do, but every once in a while something would happen, and but everybody worked around him.
Yeah, they make it work. It's you deal. I mean, look at all the different wrestlers that come into play.
Right.
You don't have that athleticism or that ability in the ring, but they have such a look or a presence or even a personality that gets them over, and you have to try to make the most of it. And then you get good workers like an Arn Anderson or a Mick Foley or a Barry.
Right. And what Giant Gonzalez had on his side, he was the tallest athlete on the planet.
Right.
You know, and he stuck out, man. When you see him coming, people are just amazed at him. I was amazed. I was with him for 3 years every day. Didn't leave his side. I think he went home 2 times in 3 years to Argentina. He was gone like 2 weeks, and he was gone almost a month. That was only 2 times. He left my side in 3 years. And every day when we would wake up and be downstairs for breakfast at the Marriott, I was amazed at looking at this guy. I said, man, this guy's a God's gift, a God's creation. He looks like a fucking redwood tree.
Right.
Until you actually see a redwood tree, you don't know how big a redwood tree. You see him in magazines. You seen that famous picture of a car. They got a car driving through.
Yeah.
They made a tunnel out of the redwood tree and a car driving through it. That's amazing. But to see it in person, it's a different story. To see Giant Gonzalez in person is amazing. You're probably never going to see anybody like him in your life.
Right? No.
Somebody. There's several tall people, but you don't see them.
I know, an absolute rarity, At this time, too, he was only about in his mid-20s. And like being obviously starting off in the business and everything like that. What did you think at that time he thought of the wrestling business? And did he overall, you think, have positive memories of the business at this point in time in WCW?
You talking about Giant Gonzalez?
Yeah, Giant Gonzalez.
I think he had a fabulous time. He didn't know too much about wrestling. When they brought him over to play for the Hawks, and they said, hey, you can't pass an NBA inspection, but we have the wrestling company. He said, what's wrestling? And then they introduced him to the school and tried to train him and so on, until he got into the dressing room and started meeting Flair and Sting and this guy and Steiners and Dusty and this guy and going to these big buildings and sell out and the people and the attention he was getting and how much we cared about him. And Ted Turner, he was amazed. He had nothing but great memories of wrestling. He thought he was a star in basketball. He was an even bigger star in the United States.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. What a present.
Everybody's tall in basketball, and everydy's not, 8 foot tall.
Right.
But he's really 7'7".
Yeah. That's still like, holy smokes. I met Kevin Nash a couple times and everything, and he was humongous. He's so tall. But even thinking about like Giant Gonzalez compared to him, that's even. Oh my gosh!
Can you look up real quick how tall is Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, let me look. I think he's 6'6" or 6'7", if I remember. Let me take.
Yeah. Okay. About that.
Hulk Hogan height. Let's see here. 6'7". They list him here on Wikipedia. So take that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a close up of this picture again.
Yes.
And look at the size difference.
Look at that. Look at that. Gee, look how big he is.
Hulk Hogan's huge in the wrestling business. There's not a lot of 6'7" guys.
No,
But
and Fonzie, you're 5'9", right? You said?
Yeah, approximately. But look how towering Giant Gonzalez is. He had a 22 shoe.
Oh my God.
He was big, and he wasn't misproportioned. He wasn't out of proportion. So his body fit him. That's why the women were attracted to him. They wanted to see him naked or something because he was well proportioned. It's not like his head was bigger than his neck, or he was well proportioned. His arms, he looked normal, but he was a giant. He looked normal.
Yeah. How about that? And like,
saw him in this picture. Take Hogan away and Fonzie away. You just saw him in a picture. You don't realize, until you see this guy in person.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was amazed every morning. I said, wow, God's gift. God gave us this kid,
Yes. Yeah.
Took him away early. I think he died at 47.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But we'll talk about that on the next episode, some of that stuff. But
okay.
You said in previous interviews that Jim Herd being brought in to run WCW ultimately led to yours and Gonzalez's departure, and that he wanted to significantly cut your pay. At the time, you pitched potentially going to Japan as a route that the Giant could take. Do you know if anyone else like a Mick Foley or Abdul the Butcher had that conversation and gave the Giant some advice? Yeah, was there anything? Do you remember any of that talk about Jim Herd and going over to Japan?
Well, of course I do, because I remember a lot of guys talking to him. Everybody was scrambling to take care of themselves. because Jim Herd wanted to cut everybody's pay, not just mine, not just Giant Gonzalez. He wanted to cut this guy's pay, because we were, in his mind, we were getting overpaid for dollar. Say we were bringing in $50 million a year, but we were spending $70 million to make the 50, so it didn't make sense. You wanted to try to even it out and now fly first class. And just cut the budget, and that's where Giant came to me and asked me for advice. He didn't ask Sting. He didn't ask Abdullah Butcher. He didn't ask anybody. I had been in the business years and years already, and it was worked under Dusty. And he knew how Dusty liked me, and I was in the office to a certain extent. He said, Fonzie, what do we do? He said, I don't want to take a pay cut. I said, me either. And he said, what are our options? I said, well, our options are, Giant. I said, you can go back to Europe and play European basketball. I don't know how much money you were making there, but you're not going to make like you're making here. He's making mid six figures, pretty good, big numbers. Or you could go to Japan because they like you in Japan. You could probably go there 3 or 4 months out of the year, 2 weeks here, a month there, 10 days here, 5 days, and make a living that way. Or you could possibly go to WWF. He says, Fonzie, do you know anybody in WWF? I said, yeah, I know J.J. Dillon. I worked with him. He was Dusty's assistant booker. Now he's assistant booker and Vince McMahon's right-hand man at that time. And he said, well, I said, well, let me call J.J. and see if they're interested first. So I did. I called J.J. Dillon. And just so happened that week, once we got the word that Jim Herd wanted us, we had a meeting in his office. Jim Herd, we wanted to take a pay cut and so on. So the Giant had a spur in his heel, and he had to have it cut out. It wasn't bad at all. It was a common thing. We get them, it was a little spur. He had to have Lance and cut out, so it was going to be off for 5 or 6 days, healing, and then he could go back to work. So all this came about the time he had to have his heel lance for the spur in there. So we had that done. We're at my mom's house on Lake Juanita in Tampa, the orange trees and the golf buggy, and we loved it. We were having a ball, and he was healing up just fine. He said, Fonzie, I want you to call WWF. I said, okay, let me try. No promises I can get through, So I called, Titan Towers in Stamford. You can see it on I-95 on the side of the road right there, big office. So I called the office, and the lady answered the phone. How can I help you? I said, yeah, my name's Bill Alfonso. I'm trying to speak with J.J. Dillon. Hold on, please. So I was expecting, well, he's busy. Can you leave your number and call you back? 30 seconds later, the phone clicks. Hey, Fonzie. Hey, how you doing? Oh, my God, Fonzie, how's everything? What can I do for you, Fonzie? And I explained the situation. I said, look, Jim Herd, to take a pay cut. Our options are go play basketball in Europe, go to Japan, or we'd call to see if Vince McMahon would be interested in Giant Gonzalez. And JJ was pretty blunt and pretty bold and said, well, Fonzie, I'll talk to Vince. I'll run it by him, and I'll get back with you if anything happens. I said, okay, thank you so much, JJ. It was great talking to you. Thanks for taking my phone call right away. I haven't talked to you in a couple of years. I worked with JJ in Florida.
Yeah.
He was Dusty's right-hand man, and I was Dusty's left-hand man. So I worked with JJ like this every day for freaking years, 7 days a week. Thank you, JJ. So I hung up the phone, and I said, well, Giant, he's going to run it by Vince, and if they're interested, they'll give us a call. And we weren't let down because we were enjoying our time off. Plus, we was making $500,000 a year. We were living like fucking rock stars.
Right.
We're at my parents' house, driving golf buggies, having a good time, enjoying a little time off. We're worried about Jim Herd next week when we go back to work.
Right.
Figure it out. So we were let down because of JJ. We'll call you. I said, okay, shit.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, the phone rings. It's JJ. Hey, Fonzie, Vince is interested. He wants to know when can you guys come up and have a meeting. I said, well, we just had a little spur cut out. We're off. We're at my parents' house. We can come at any time. He said, how about tomorrow? JJ says. I said, that'll be, Giant, what do you think? Oh, yeah, no problem. I say, you have to fly him first class because he's big. He can't fit. And just no, he flew us both first class. So he said, I'll have the travel people call you and get the information, and we'll have somebody pick you up at the airport. We'll see you tomorrow. So, so so I explained to JJ, I said, look, I'm his personal assistant, plus I referee, so it's a package deal. So if you take Giant Gonzalez, you can take him, but I'm a package. I take care of him, plus I'm a referee. You know that, JJ. And if you don't take me, that's okay too, but, we're a package.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, Fonzie. I understand. So he flew us both up, and a big limousine picked us up at the Hartford or Stanford, wherever the fuck it was.
Yep.
And instead of going to the wrestling office, we go to Vince's house.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool. So we go to his house, and JJ's there. Vince isn't there yet. So JJ introduced himself to Giant, and he said, oh, Vince is running a little late. He'll be here shortly. But, they had a tray of food and all kind of stuff for the Giant, and we were talking. And so in comes Vince in his green fucking suit, or orange suit. He's walks in, and Giant Gonzalez, he was quite impressed. And he said, I know who you are. You're the referee, and I know who you are. You're he called me active or hype or something. He called me energetic or something.
Yeah.
Energetic or whatever. It was a good comment. It wasn't a bad negative. So we explained to him, which JJ already explained to him, and said, look, Jim Hurd was taking some pay cut, and Giant Vince says, well, I'm interested, and you too, Fonzie. And Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, well, I got to go back to WCW because they still owe me my check. It's $60,000. He said, because we get checks, they give it to you at the TV.
Yeah,
you get a check every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, you get a check. His was 60 grand bi-weekly, 30 grand a week. That's not bad money, right?
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
So Vince tells Giant, said, don't even go back there. Fuck WCW. JJ, write him a check for $60,000. We'll consider that his signing bonus. And he said, you're going to make way more money than you. Way. I can hear Vince say that. You're going to way more money. And so JJ wrote Giant Gonzalez a check for 60 grand, and he gave it to him as a signing bonus. Don't go back to WCW. So we're thrilled. We got a job. Not me yet. And I'm a package deal. And Vince says, I didn't say, hey, I'm a package deal. You have to take me here, And he said, Fonzie? Oh, Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, he says, Vince, this was towards the end of the year. It's like a month before Christmas or something. And Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, I haven't been home in 9 months. Do you mind if I go home for the rest of the month and I start next year in January sometimes? And that's a great idea because they give me time to come up with your gimmick and your outfit and think of the program and this and that. And he turns to me, he says, Fonzie, do you want to take the month off too? And I said, no, sir. I said, I'd rather go to work. That way I'm familiar with your company. And so when he comes back, I'm already set in. And he says, JJ, put him on to work right away. So JJ got a booking sheet. Now they were running 2 or 3 towns a night, the same night. Like on Wednesday night, you could be in California. The other B crew would be in San Francisco. The other crew would be in Chicago. You run to 3 different towns or 2 different towns. There's so many, So Vince says, JJ, put him, add him on. So JJ pulls out 3 booking sheets, 3 different, and looks at him and starts writing me down. He starts giving me a schedule for the month. The you're booked out 2-3 months in advance. You know where you're at for 3 months.
Right.
So JJ writes me a long list of the towns, and then the travel's going to get with me and send me my tickets and all that. And Vince is so smart. Instead of him going to a travel agency, he bought his own travel agent.
That's awesome.
Travel agent inside of his company. Why pay them when he can pay his own travel agent?
Right.
You know, makes sense. So, so JJ starts writing stuff down. Monday you're here, Tuesday you're here, Wednesday you're there. This is where because I changed the dress code in WWF. So he writes this and that, and I look at it. I said, JJ, I recognize all those places, but where's MSG? What's MSG? I didn't know.
Yeah.
He said, Fonzie, that's Madison Square Gardens. I said, oh my God, what's the most famous arena on the planet?
Oh, it's Madison Square Garden. W just
no, not Boston Gardens, not Toronto Maple Leaf, not the Cow Palace in California, not Tokyo. No, Madison Square Garden, most famous. So I was thrilled to go there. So I get my booking sheet. Giant Gonzalez, they take us back to the airport. We fly home the same day. We're back at home. We're thrilled. We got a job. Giant got a 60 grand signing bonus, and he's going home for the month. He's fucking happy as fuck. I'm going to start work in 10 days. I'm going to go back on the road. You know, and my first week I'm in Madison Square Gardens. So, and I would dress nice because if I don't dress nice, if I wear a pair of jeans, a nice polo shirt, and a pair of nice Nikes, I look like the fucking audience when I walk in the back door at a venue. You know what I mean? I gotta dress like somebody. So I bought, I had a Submariner Rolex. I wore suits all the time. I had really nice luggage. I look like somebody. If you didn't know I was he's somebody. We don't know who he is, but so they got me in so. My first week, I'm in Madison Square Garden, so I dressed nice. I got a fucking $1,000 suit on. I got a Submariner. I got Louis. In fact, here's the luggage right here. I still have it. I'll walk in with this, and the briefcase and shit. You know what I mean? And I look like $1 million. And you get there at 5 o'clock because the matches started at 8. You're there. Vince wants everybody there 2 hours before the show starts. So usually there's a bunch of guys in the ring working out and talking about their matches and this and that. And there was Vince at ringside. So Vince sees me walk in. And back then, all the referees were wearing remember the Zubas?
Oh, yeah, the Zubas.
The pants, the Zubas, they were wearing Zubas, and the Hebners and Mike Yoda and all those guys are all wearing Zubas and T-shirts and the WWF hat and stuff. It looked good, but so I walk in looking like $1 million with a suit and a beautiful watch and a luggage. My haircut's perfect. I'm beautiful. And Vince called me, Fonzie, come over here. He called all the referees, all the ring guys, all the underneath talent. Not Shawn Michaels and those guys, the smaller guys like me and all the referees. And he said, Fonzie, you look great. He said, everybody see how Fonzie's dressed? From now on, from this day on, anytime we run a big show like Madison Square or any big sold out big thing, a pay-per-view, Monday Night Raw, anything. I was on the first Monday Night Raw, by the way. So he says, I want everybody to dress like Fonzie is right now. So now the referees can't wear Zubas no more. The Hebners were pissed off. Fonzie, why you gotta dress like that? Because this is how I dress, I don't want to look like the fucking audience. Yeah. And so they were all mad at me for a minute because they all had to go out and dress nice.
Get nice stuff,
so I changed the dress code in my first week in WWF.
How about that? Man. Yeah. You're a game changer, Fonzie. You're a game changer. All right.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm in Madison Square Garden. It's my first time because WCW didn't run there. They couldn't. They were contracted to Vince. Yeah. I've never been there, but I've heard of Madison Square Garden since I was a little boy. Yeah. The Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and all that. The basketball team and so on. So
yeah, Nixon, Bruno, all that.
So I started. Yes, Bruno. So I started with Vince and did the month why Giant Gonzalez was in Argentina visiting with his family. First time he's been home in 9 months, and I was getting the hang of it and all that. So when he came in, we were on ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
Yep. And so we were there. We came in right after WrestleMania 8. So we missed 8. We came in right after 8. And then we did 9, and we left before 10. So I was almost there 3 years, but I came in right after 8. I did 9, and I left right before 10. So right before 10. I was there for a while, and then I was off for a minute and went to ECW.
ECW, and the rest is history there. But we'll cover Giant Gonzalez and you in the WWF next episode of the.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, Daddy, because we've been talking. Let me see. Damn, an hour and 42 minutes.
How about it, huh?
And time goes by quick, and I'm enjoying myself. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying these stories. Yeah. I'm having fun telling them. And you guys, please send in questions. Please enter to win my stuff.
Enter to win.
Win the tracksuit, man. I'm really digging this. And I hope I get good feedback, and I'm not boring you fucking guys with old stories about, I'm talking about me a lot, but,
hey, this is your show, though, Fawn. That's it.
Okay, Daddy.
So you're good to go. Guys, what you can do, too, if you missed this episode, you're tuning in later on, what you can do, if you do a super chat, anytime you see me on the screen, when it comes to One True Sport or anything like that, you're automatically entered to win the contest for Fonzie. So so keep that in mind, and I'll send some reminders to you throughout when I'm live on One True Sport or doing other things like that. So send the reminders. If you submit a super chat, that'll go to Fonzie and I on the podcast, but it will also enter you to win the track.
Yes, and the tracksuit is not the only thing we'll be giving away.
There's going to be giveaways.
Hey, can I tell you something about what we're going to be talking in the future?
Sure.
This is a replica. This is not Harley Race's belt. This is not the one I'm holding up and holding Harley Race's hand up. That's the real one. But somebody made this for Harley Race. You can get them now. You can order them on the internet. But this belt's 25, 30 years, or whatever, however long I've had it. Somebody presented it to Harley Race at this big fundraiser, and Harley didn't want, and Harley took it and said, "Oh, thank you so much." And as soon as we got in the car, he said, "Here, take this. This is for you, Fonzie." So Harley Race gave me this. So that's a pretty cool story. And here's a picture of me holding it up. This is what Jack Briscoe had, Dory Funk, Terry Funk, Ric Flair. Then they made the new one for him. But this is a replica, not the real McCoy. If it was, it'd be worth the big, big money. But you could buy this. If you had 10 grand, you could buy this from me for 10 grand. Why? Because Harley Race gave it to me.
Yeah.
I find that very flattering, and I work with Harley and all these superstars. So so I'm saying is, I hope you guys don't get bored with my stories like that. And my stories about Hulk Hogan, my stories about Van Dam. We were in the High Times magazine, championship pot smokers, Daddy. Let me see. Can you see that?
Let's see here. I'll zoom that in. Oh yeah. That's what a great cover that is. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
inside, right?
Framed up, and we're giving stuff like this away.
Look at that.
I'll be telling stories about how we do that, where do we do the shoot at, and there's 5 people who decide who's going to be on the cover, and it was between Van Dam, Fonzie, and Sabu on the cover, or Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow.
And so 3 voted Ozzy and 2 voted Van Dam, but they gave us a 3-page spread centerfold. So that's another story about, they gave us each an ounce of pod. The High Times magazine is going to give you a really good pod. And we shot the thing in Philadelphia, the shoot and stuff. So we got some pretty cool stories to cover. You can look at any picture, and we can do a whole podcast about Revere Steakhouse in Japan. And ECW went over and did a show at Corrigan Hall and sold it out in Japan. And we all went to Revere Steakhouse, and they give all the Americans the jackets. So we all got the jackets on. We all had a great steak dinner, and there's the franchise Fonzie, Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, and the two Dudley boys. So we can talk about stories like that. We can talk about this. Dr. Death, Steve Williams,
Oh man,
Terry Funk, and
Terry
Fonzie.
Funk.
All of us are bleeding
Yeah.
to the ECW arena. Why are we bleeding? That's another story. So anyway, there's Dusty. I got stories about Dusty where I sucker punched Dusty, and all kind of cool stories. They just interesting to the wrestling fans. So I hope my whole point is I hope you guys can enjoy, and I'm gonna keep doing these till you guys boot me off the air.
We'll keep on cooking, Fonzie, for sure. We'll close it out with this question that Liam Evans asked earlier on the show with the super chat. He said, "What did Giant Gonzalez typically eat in a day?"
Damn, we'd eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner because he had to feed that body. That body took a lot of energy, to carry around that big. He weighed 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Wasn't a tall, skinny kid. He was big, so it took a lot of energy. He'd eat a dozen scrambled eggs, 8 or 9 pieces of bacon. Now he couldn't eat too much because we didn't want to get him fat, And we worked out minimum. When you're on the road 7 days a week, you barely got time to go to the gym. So your life is traveling, airports, hotels, the arena, and the gym. Mm-hmm. Typically what he ate was specifically a dozen eggs scrambled, like them scrambled. I don't know what 8 or 9 pieces of bacon are, half a pound or something, 8 or 9 pieces of bacon, a couple of hash browns, and some toast, like this bread, and 2-3 cups of coffee. For lunch, we would say we did a McDonald's. He'd eat 2 3/4 pounders. Now, you would think that's a pretty good amount of food.
Yeah.
And then at night, you remember the show started at 8 o'clock, so we can't go to dinner at 7 o'clock, and we have to be at the arena at 6:30 or something. So we have to scramble for dinner.
Right.
Wherever what's open after 11 o'clock. If you're lucky, the Waffle House, Denny's, a couple of steak places might be open. Some stuff like that. So we'd have to scramble, but he'd order a couple of steaks, a couple of big New York strip. He liked the no fat on them, so the New York strip was pretty good for him. A couple of baked potatoes. He ate probably 2 to 3 times a normal man would eat.
My goodness.
The normal man. Say me and you, Dominic, and the person who asked, what was the kid's name who asked the question?
That was Liam Evans.
Okay, Liam Evans. You would go to a steakhouse, say Outback. You go to Outback, you'd order the ribeye, a baked potato, the salad, a soup, and a drink. He'd order 2 steaks, 2 baked potatoes, a bigger salad, and a lot of water. So he 2 or 3 times the normal amount. But, a dozen eggs, I'll never forget it. And we used to get funny looks. But they expected, you walk in with a guy that's a giant, you expect him to order big. So when he said, I have 12 scrambled eggs, the lady said, oh my God, 12 eggs. She said, oh, 12 eggs, scrambled, okay. She was amazed taking his order. They can't take their eyes off him.
Right.
She's walking like this, looking at it. People couldn't take their eyes off him. And not that he was a freak or ugly. It was just usual size.
He's just he's a big dude. It's you're gonna definitely catch eyes on it for sure.
All right, one more question. You said you had 2.
No, that was it. That was the only one that we had.
All right, you guys send in some questions. I want you guys to answer.
Yeah, pop in some questions. We'll be sure to get
a lot of stuff, but we got a ton of stuff to talk
about. So, guys,
like Kevin Sullivan getting choked by Wahoo McDaniel. We did a match. It was Wahoo McDaniel against Sergeant Slaughter in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the finish was. We can talk about this on one of our podcasts. The finish was that Sergeant Slaughter's the bad guy and Wahoo's the big baby face, and they loved him. So it was Sergeant Slaughter rose out of the ring, grabs the belt, whatever belt it was, the heavyweight Carolina title or whatever, comes in with it. He's coming into the ring with it. Wahoo kicks him, grabs the belt. Now, I'm behind Sergeant Slaughter. So the finish is Wahoo kicks him, grabs the belt, goes to hit Slaughter. Slaughter moves, he hits the referee, me, and I disqualify him for hitting me. But, so Slaughter wins on the disqualification, but nobody gets pinned and so on and so on. So Slaughter was so big and I'm small, so Wahoo could not see me. I'm standing behind Sergeant Slaughter. So when Slaughter moved, here comes the belt, bam, and he hits me with this part of the belt, not this part like this.
Yeah.
This part, like a knife. Right here, bam, knocks me out, concussion. Then they rushed me to the hospital. And if you can see this, you probably can't. I end up getting 42 stitches and staples. And this is what you do not want to hear. This is a story for a future podcast. This is what you don't want to hear. When the paramedics were trying to stop the blood and shit, and I said, hey, paramedic, is it bad? He says, oh, you don't want to hear this from me. Oh, well, it's not too bad. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. You don't want to hear, oh, my God, it's fucking here. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So that's another story. So we can talk about Wahoo and all. We can just keep going. We got stories up the ass, all wrestling related.
All wrestling related.
Yeah, we may spin off and talk about George Foreman. I met George Foreman, or some famous people that I met. I met George Foreman. We were in Las Vegas, and I put him over, and I said, oh, my mom loves your George Foreman grill.
Yeah.
He said, Fonzie, give my assistant your address. He sent my mom every George Foreman grill they had.
What?
Nice guy. I met famous singer. Famous singer. I can't think of his name, but black man, one of the most famous singers on the planet.
Wow.
And I was with a girl, and I said, oh, when I want to get with my girl, I'll put your music on and feed her a martini. Boy, and we get it on. And he got embarrassed and shit. And he said, anytime you guys want to come see me. So I had backstage passes anywhere in the world that he was playing at. He said, you gave me a number to his assistant, and I could call him. And I did. I went to 2 concerts. I can't think of his name. I got brain fog right now. But a big name, I'll think of it for the next 5 years. I met a lot of cool people. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump, met him at Madison Square. All just kind of cool people, man.
Holy shit. We got a lot to talk about then. We got a lot.
Yeah, we have more than wrestling to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Mostly wrestling, because that's what I'm good at. That's what I've done for 44 years.
And this has been a great episode, guys. So if you like what you're seeing, be sure to subscribe to OneTrueSportTV.com, subscribe to RVDTV.com. That helps out the show. It helps out Fonzie, helps out me, and it gets the word out about the channel and stuff like that. And if you're interested, if you're on OneTrueSportTV.com and you want more content, more exclusive content, hit the join button. Check out the tiers that we got: $7.99, $24.99, and then $39.99, and we give you extra added content that you guys will like to see, and you get your bang for your buck. Liam Evans is a member. We have Eddie Prather in here, and then a whole bunch of a great.
A lot of new members coming up, and then I'm going to be a member, and I'll be teaching you how to get abs. I don't have an ounce
Look at the abs.
Eddie, not an ounce of fat on me.
Fonzie, you look great, man. You look great.
Thanks, Daddy.
You're welcome. And guys, this has been a great episode. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to follow Fonzie at Alfonso Bill on Twitter. And then it's Fonzie Bill Alfonso on
Bill Fonzie Alfonso on everything else.
On everything else. So be sure to give him a follow. Fonzie, this has been a fun episode. I can't wait to do it again. Yes. We'll have to work out a time. I'm in a play right now, so I'll have play rehearsals coming up and stuff like that. But we'll try to work out a time and figure out a day when we're going to do it again. Hopefully, we'll do it in 2 weeks, but keep your eyes peeled on OneTrueSportTV.com.
Oh, maybe we're going to do it in Las Vegas. I'm out there for
We're definitely going to do it in Las Vegas. No doubt about it.
My Lifetime Achievement Award.
Absolutely. I'm going to be pumped for that, Fonzie. That's going to be a great time. So This was a great time, guys. So thanks again for tuning in here on Right Down the Middle, Daddy, with Bill Alfonso. Bill Fonzie.
Bill Alfonso saying so long from the Sunshine State.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next time. What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of OneTrueSportTV.com and RVDTV.com, and we are live on both channels. We're live on both the channels. We're live on RVD's Twitter, and I am here. It's Right Down the Middle, episode 5, with none other than Fonzie, Bill Alfonso. Fonzie, how you doing, man? I'm excited to cook it back up again here with you.
I am doing great, Daddy. We survived. Debbie Hurricane just come through. We got heavy winds and so much rain, but my house is hardcore, Daddy. We are very good.
That's great to hear. Yeah. Oh, man, you were telling me on the phone how nuts that was.
Oh, it's crazy, man. We lost several people in some accidents, unfortunately, and a lot of flooding, a lot of people out of their homes. So damn it. But hey, the first aid is right here. We got a great system here, recovery system. We get a lot of help from the United States. They come in and swoop us up and take care of us.
That's good. How bad does the hurricanes hit Tampa a lot? Is it a common thing, or is it once in a while during one?
Well, we actually haven't been hit 70 or 80 years, a direct hit like they just did at Fort Myers, which is only 140 miles from here south of us. They get a direct hit, devastation, wiped out homes. They're gone forever. A direct hit in Tampa, we haven't had one, but the hurricane season just started, and they say it's going to be a pretty damn good one because they predict that stuff, and they're pretty damn accurate. So we never know. We can go another 20 years when we don't get a direct hit, but when we do, we're in trouble.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I'm glad you're okay. Hurricane season is nuts. I lived in Myrtle Beach for 1 year when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
And the time we moved, it was like 1999, and it was Hurricane Dennis hit like a couple weeks before while we were there. And then when we actually moved, Hurricane Floyd hit, which was a real big one. And it was like we were 4 blocks away from the beach. It was crazy.
It is crazy, man. The one that just bypasses was like 180 miles out from us. And, man, it was crazy here. Crazy.
I believe it.
Those direct hits, man, they just blow houses away. You never see them again. But, yeah, let's talk about some wrestling, Daddy.
Let's do it. Yeah. What I did want to talk real quick, though, is you sent me a video a couple weeks back about an alligator eating your phone.
Oh, damn sure did. So I live in a beautiful complex, and there's ponds and small lakes all around us. So there's one about a 2-minute walk from my house. I go and fish there all the time for an hour, get a little sun, and I catch largemouth bass, big ones, 5-pounders, 6-pounders, 4-pounders. And I release them, and for about an hour and a half, and I come home. So there's several alligators in this pond, and when I catch a fish, the alligator attracts the alligator. They see me catching a fish, they'll come up and grab my fish sometimes, and one was looking at my cooler, so I moved my cooler from the shoreline where I was fishing way back, about 50, 60, 70 feet back.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a soft cooler, some water in my cooler, a towel, my shirt, and I had my cell phone on top of the cooler. So I catch a fish. I'm bringing in the fish, boy, and it attracts the alligator. So here I bring the fish on the bank. I think the alligator is going for my fish, right? Yeah. And the alligator is super fast for short distance. They can't run for long, but short distance, they are like lightning fast. So I thought he was going for my damn fish, and he bypassed my fish. I mean, he runs right past me. He's 3 feet from me, runs right past me, grabs my freaking cooler with my water, my towel, and my cell phone. Damn it. So he grabbed it and ran back in the water and swam off and ate my damn cooler and cell phone. Now we're talking about a 250-pound 8-foot alligator. That's pretty damn big. So he didn't know what he had. It couldn't taste good because of the plastic. You know, it was a soft plastic cooler. And a cell phone can't taste that good. I feel bad for the guy, but damn, I had to go out and buy. You know how much a damn iPhone is now with tax, and you get the screen and all that. $1,400 worth of. I told the story to the Apple store where I got my phone. I said, "Hey, is there an alligator discount?" He loved the story. But he said, "Unfortunately, Fonzie, there's no alligator discount for you." So I had to pay full price like everybody else. I guess I'm not that special after all. But I am the manager of champions. And thanks to the alligator, I got the latest cell phone, the most coolest cell phone out there today.
It's the Fonzie phone. The Fonzie phone happening.
Yep, so the damn alligator ate my phone. This was just last week, man. This phone's not even 7 days old.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, it happened before I went to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's right.
I went to Cleveland on the 8th. They had the big SummerSlam there in Cleveland, and it was packed. I worked for a company, AIW, John Thorne, once a month up in Cleveland. So he thought it'd be a great idea to run on the Thursday because SummerSlam, and we ran on Thursday. It was a sellout, and WWE allowed some of its guys that broke in with John Thorne, AIW, to come down and not wrestle, but he got in the ring and talked, and the people were electrified, and we had a hell of a show, a hell of a production. And this was on the Thursday night, sold out, steady room only. It was great, man. Cleveland was on fire. Then the next day, in Coldwater, it's about 45-minute drive from the Cleveland airport. I did a meet and greet. There was a ton of guys there from Big Show to Tito Santana, but in my group it was Fonzie, Sandman, who's one of my dear friends, one of my hangout buddies, Franchon Shane Douglas, and the beautiful eyes up here, Francine. Too, Daddy.
Heck yeah.
So we did that. That Friday afternoon. And then the next day I caught a flight to Miami and did a show for CCW, who I love. They run like 4 shows a month out here in Florida. Wow. It's very successful. They're drawing up to 1,000 people. That's unusual for I don't even want to call it
independent promotion or nothing.
Yeah, this is like a real, the last of the promotions, man. This guy runs consistently 4 shows a month and draws 700 to 1,000 people. It's amazing, and I'm on all of them.
Do they air those like on YouTube or stream them on?
Yes,
YouTube, you know?
Yeah, they have a complete show. They tape a complete show. And yes, on YouTube, CCW, Closely Championship Wrestling, and it comes out every week. Every week they have it, and it's good. I'm featured on it. And now they got me commentating. They like my style. They like it because I'm animated and I got stories. But I'm commentating. I'm the the color guy because we have a real guy like Gordon Soley, and then his sidekick, which would be me. And I'm getting better. And I'm getting better. They love me.
How do you like it? How do you like doing that? The commentary.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like it a lot because I'm not going through tables. I'm not getting my head busted open. And it's fun. And I think I add to the show in a cool way. And it's really, really cool, man. And I get a ringside seat.
That's it.
All the action is very cool. Very cool.
Man, that's great. That's great. Who did you manage up in Cleveland? Was it Matthew Justice? Was he there with you? Is that who you when you were?
No, Matthew Justice is usually there. Unfortunately, he was on another show. I manage Philly and my man Marino. They're the tag team champions up there. They're badass.
Oh,
EME, they're badass. They're my boys. They do well. And I've managed several different people like. Anybody big name that they bring in, they have me manage them. And Matthew Justice is in and out of there, and I always manage him.
He's the best, man. I love Matthew Justice.
Yeah. He's badass. He's hardcore, brother. He is crazy. He's kind of like between a Van Dam and Sabu style type deal.
Maybe next. So we'll record here after Las Vegas. Maybe we should try to get him on for that episode coming up as the guest.
Okay, Matthew Justice.
Yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
he's a dear friend of mine. In fact, we got a show coming up. I signed a 3-day, 3-show contract with MLW.
Yeah.
2 are in Tampa and one's in Atlanta. And now they're asking me to go to New York and do another one in New York. But I'm busy, man. I got to fit it in. If they got to let me know, I'm booked 2 months out.
That's it, man.
Thank you.
You're a busy man.
So I manage Matthew Justice and MLW. We do really good together. People love us.
You guys
are well liked, and Matthew's hardcore, man. He's badass.
Hell of a tandem. It's so cool that it's like you have obviously your ties to RVD, Sabu, Taz, and I think Matthew Justice fits right into that mix for sure.
He certainly does. He certainly does.
I wanted to ask too before I forget, Fonzie. So the one show that you guys did, MLW, it was the latest one in Tampa. He did the Van Terminator. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Talk about that a little bit.
He's no RVD, but he's pretty damn close.
Pretty good.
RVD's got that extra special strength with those massive legs, and he's got beliefs, and all that. And he stretches. Matthew Justice in his own way, but he damn pulled that thing off, and it looked freaking great.
It did.
And even then, that rung the guy's bell pretty damn good.
I believe it, dude. That match too, Fonzie, was just insane. What they were doing and everything like that. It was a really fun match.
Oh, I can't believe some of the stuff Justice does. I can't believe it, man.
Because he did they set up a table on the outside, and he was going to jump onto Mads Kruger through that table from a ladder, but the table collapsed, and Matthew Justice did it anyways. He jumped anyways on him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You got to be prepared for anything in this business,
Absolutely.
People think it's so scripted, and it is in a way, but it doesn't go 1, 2, 3 all the time. Things happen. So you got to adjust to it and be smart. He is.
Right. He knows what he's doing for sure.
I love Matthew Justice. I got some pictures of him and I together. Really cool. Around, we'll pull one out. We'll do one as a giveaway too.
Yeah.
Badass. And since you want him on the show, I'll have him sign some stuff.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, guys, we're live, obviously. Part of what we're doing here too, Fonzie likes to do a lot of giveaways, and we're going to do our big first giveaway here coming up.
I love giveaways.
So what we're going to do, Fonzie has a tracksuit. We have several other people already entered into it. And how you do it, look at this thing here. I'm going to pop it up. How you enter, guys, is you enter in a super chat. It can be any price or whatever, but if you get in a super chat, you automatically be entered to win that tracksuit right there that Fonzie's holding. And what we're going to do is anybody that gets in will be entered this week, and then we'll reveal the winner next time we do it, which will be in 2 weeks' time. So get your super chats in right now. It helps out the podcast, helps out Fonzie and me. And then you'll get entered into win to that. And right now we got a few people entered into it. But also, you enter tonight and use the super chat. We're going to give one person here tonight that does it, an autographed picture by Fonzie. Fonzie will pick out
my choice, and I got some really cool pics.
He'll send. We'll get your guys' information. Whoever enters, if you enter super chat tonight, you're automatic. Look at that one, man. That's the Crimson Mask one.
That was a 9-up. Beat Reela's ass.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, so he's got some great ones there. I like the classic referee one too, there, Fonzie. That one.
Oh, okay. Can you guys get? Yeah, there's a guy underneath. I'm holding down. Guess who he is?
Oh, let's see here. Who is that? Is that Elvis? It looks like Elvis. Let me see. Heyman.
Yep, that's the young boy in 1981 or 1982.
Wow.
To the business, and I was assistant booker back then, and for Florida Championship Wrestling, and I helped him get a spot in Florida.
My goodness.
And that's why he was so good to me in ECW. He never forgot that. And if it wasn't for ECW, I wouldn't be sitting here doing my own podcast. Because even though I was a famous international 5-star referee, and referee world title matches with Ric Flair and Fujinami in Tokyo, 65,000 people, and then been put on the cover of magazines. We're going to be talking about Giant Gonzalez, the largest pro athlete on the planet at that time. There's nobody bigger than him on the planet. So we're going to be talking about him soon.
Yes, we will. So, guys, get those super chats in.
So, yeah, we're going to give away a pick tonight, right? You said?
Yep. We're going to give one of those 8x10s away. It's dealer's choice, so Fonzie will pick it. But anybody that asks a question here tonight, you'll be automatically entered tonight to win it. We'll now win at the end of the show. So get a super chat in, and you're automatically entered to get one of those signed 8x10s by Fonzie. And all of those are great. So definitely make the most of it, fellas, and get guys and gals. And thanks for joining us, too. So, and hey, get the word out about the show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and send it out to your friends and enemies. It doesn't matter to me. You get the word out about us, and we'll get things cooking here. But yeah, Fonzie,
thank you guys. Thanks, for that. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Hey, I'm getting good feedback from when I do these shows all over the country and do the WrestleCons and conventions and shows and stuff. Somebody always comes up to me and says, Fonzie, we love the stories. You're so animated telling the stories and stuff. I said, I'm just being me. And they're enjoying it. They're enjoying my stories.
Mm-hmm. And man, we had some great ones when we talked about Giant Gonzalez and you in WCW. And
yes,
holy smokes, we covered a lot of great ground on there. So this week, we're talking about when you guys entered WWF. And it's a big moment.
Yeah, I'll tell you how we got to WWF and that.
Yeah, started off. How did you guys get there? You kind of talked about it at the end of last episode that we did. But
to refresh everybody, we were, Giant Gonzalez and I were working for WCW, Ted Turner in Atlanta. And we had big expenses. WCW had big expenses. And so they brought in a guy who didn't know that much about wrestling, but he knew how to handle companies and expenses and so on. He was going to try to shave so we were making $70 million a year, but we're spending 80 to make 70. It didn't make sense. So they brought Jim Herd, a guy named Jim Herd, some Pizza Hut guy. I don't know. I never met him before. Never heard of him, but he's a big shot in the pizza business or whatever. Big management and, $1 million companies. So they brought him in, and immediately, let me change hats because
switch it up, Fonzie.
All right, let me see. MLW. Okay, MLW for a minute.
MLW. Let's do
MLW. John Thorne in Cleveland. So they brought in Jim Herd to shave and try to get things where the company was making money. So his plan was, he wanted to cut everybody. We were all under contract. I had a 6-figure contract, and the Giant had a bigger 6-figure contract than me. And he said, hey, well, we're going to have everybody take a pay cut, first of all. And I got to you got to agree to take a pay cut. You just, they can't force you to. But anyway, try to make us take a pay cut. And Giant comes up to me and says, Fonzie, I don't want to take a pay cut. Me either. He said, what are our options? I said, well, your options are you can go back to Europe and play basketball for the European. That's how they found him. That's how Turner found him, playing European basketball and brought him over to play for the Atlanta Hawks. But he couldn't pass the inspection for NBA, so they made him a wrestler. So he said, what are options, Fonzie? I said, well, you can go play basketball. You can probably get a contract and a deal in Japan because you're so big. Andre was a smash over there. He loved him. Or you can maybe go to WWF. It was WWF at the time. He said, Fonzie, do you know anybody in WWF? I said, I certainly do. I've never worked there before, but I've worked with everybody. So J.J. Dillon was Vince McMahon's right-hand man. He was assistant boss of WWF. He said, well, call JJ and tell him our position and see if they're interested. So I said, okay. So unexpectedly, I called Titan Towers in Stamford and called. I didn't know who I was calling. I just called the office. Said, WWF, how can I help you? I said, yeah, my name's Bill Alfonso. I'd like to speak with JJ Dillon. And she hold line, please. And 20 seconds later, JJ comes on. Hey, because I worked with JJ in Florida.
Right.
We worked well together. He says, "Oh, Fonzie, you put me over. Hey, bam, bam, how you doing? And what can I do for you?" And I told him our situation. I told him about Jim Herd and taking a pay cut. We can go to Japan, or we can play basketball, or we wanted to call you guys and see if Vince was interested in having Giant Gonzalez come in. And of course, me, I'm a referee, and plus I'm his handler, I was his personal assistant for 3 years. And he said, "Wow, Fonzie, let me run it by Vince, and I'll get back with you." So I said, "Thank you so much." And we hung up, and I was kind of disappointed because I didn't get it confirmed, nothing. And 20 minutes later, the phone rings. It's JJ Dillon. And I said, "Hey, JJ." He said, "Fonzie, Vince is interested. He'd like for you guys to come up and have a meeting. When can you guys come up?" And I said, "Well, the Giant just had a spur taken out of his heel. I had a little spur that he had cut out. So we were off for the next 6 days so he can heal. So we're open." He says, JJ says, "How about tomorrow?" I said, "Okay, that's fine." I said, "But the Giant's got to fly first class because he's the Giant. He can't fit in the coach." So he said, "I'll have our travel agent call you and set everything up." So the travel agent called, and they said, "We're on flight 662. They flew us up both first class. A limo picked us up. Instead of taking us to Titan Towers, they take us to Vince's house. I thought it was pretty cool. So we walk in, there's Vince McMahon in the green suit, real, "Oh, my, hey," Vince is.
Yep.
Animated like me. And he puts the Giant over, and he says, "Oh, I know you two. I know you, Fonzie. You're one of the better referees." I said, "Thanks." And so we started talking and stuff, and we told him, Vince, Jim Herd wants us to take us a pay cut, and we're not interested in taking pay cuts. And he said, his exact words, "Fuck Jim Herd. We'd like to hire you guys." And I said, "We're a team. I'm his personal handler, and I referee a lot of his matches, and plus I'm a referee." And he said, "Great, great." The Giant says, "Well, Vince, I got to go back to," he said, "Don't even go back there." He said, "Well," the Giant said, "Vince, I got to go back. They still owe me $60,000 on my last check or whatever." And he says, "Don't go back there. JJ, write him a signing bonus for 60 grand. So he gave him a check right there and said, "Don't go back to WCW." So, okay. So the Giant hasn't been home in like 12 months. He lives in Argentina. And this is towards the end of the year. And he tells Vince, "Hey, Vince, I haven't spent Christmas at home in 3 years. I haven't been home in 9 months." He said, "Can I go home and start at the beginning of the year," which was in about 4 or 5 weeks. He said, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, it gives us time to prepare you and think about your stuff and make us that gimmick suit for it. Remember that big freaking suit they made him wear and shit, looked like Bigfoot or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Thank you." And he said, "Fonzie, do you want to start with the Giant in 4 weeks? Or would you like to start sooner?" I said, "I'd rather come in and start sooner. That way I'm prepared with your system. So when the Giant comes in, I'm already prepared to know how you guys operate and so on and so on." He said, "JJ, put him to work." So JJ gets his book out, looks at the booking sheet, and starts writing down the schedule for me for the next 10 days. And he writes down this town, that town, this town. Hey, did you know that I was on the first Monday Night Raw ever shot?
Really?
By the way, that's another cool story.
Ooh.
First Monday Night Raw, Fonzie was on. So he starts writing these towns on for me, and he writes MSG. And I said, JJ, where's MSG? He said, Fonzie, that's the most famous arena on the planet, Madison Square Gardens. I never been there because they didn't allow CW to go in there in Florida Championship Wrestling. It was only Vince, so I was thrilled to be going my first week working with WWF to go to the Madison Square Gardens. So I got my booking sheet and I started. And I changed the dress code. All the other referees got pissed at me. The Hebners and Mike Yoda and all the other referees got mad at me because I walk in to Madison Square Gardens. I'm not a big guy, so if I don't look nice, I look like the audience. You know what I mean? Where if I wore a polo shirt and a nice pair of jeans and Nikes, I coming in, I'd look like the audience. So I get to Madison Square Gardens. I'm wearing a Submariner Rolex, a beautiful fucking suit. I got beautiful freaking luggage. My hair is just perfect. I'm shaving clean, beautiful. So I walk in, and Vince likes everybody there early. So Vince was at ringside. No people inside yet, and all the guys are going over their matches and talking. They're in the ring, and Vince spots me way away. Says, "Fonzie, come here. All you referees, all you ring crew, everybody come here." So Vince had a private meeting with just us. He said, "You see, everybody was wearing. Remember the Zubas?
Oh yeah,
The Zubas that the Road Warriors had something to do. Everybody was wearing Zubas and T-shirts and Nikes to work and all that, which is very cool if you're Hulk Hogan. But so he said, everybody see how Fonzie's dressed from now on at any big show, at any pay-per-view." Any big Madison Square Garden, anything Monday Night Raw, I want you to dress exactly like Fonzie's dress from now on. Order that. No, would you please? This is how I want you to dress. So I changed their dress code for all the referees got mad at me. Henry said, "Fonzie, why do you got to dress like that? Now we all got to dress like you." I said, "Well, when I walk in, if they don't know who I am, I'm fucking somebody because I'm fucking dressed like $1 million."
Right? That's it.
So that's how we got to WWF, and then the Giant came. So I'm there for a month getting acclimated to the company, and I'm glad I did because, every company runs their stuff different. Vince runs a tight ship. Boy, it's like ABC. My phone just rang. If it's not Vince McMahon or my wife, I'm not going to answer it.
Not answering.
No, it's somebody who wants to buy a jacket. I'll get back.
There you go.
They want to buy one of my beautiful ECW jackets. They're all Nike and high quality, beautiful, good stuff. So I'll tell you guys how to get some stuff. Plus, we got a new page with all kind of T-shirts and hats. You're gonna love it, guys.
That's it.
We'll talk about that later too. But excuse me.
We'll pop it up right now. Look at it right here,
guys. It is right there. Hey,
Fonzie merch.
Sabu, RVD, Bill Alfonso, Fonzie in the back.
Yep.
I got my own T-shirts. Unbelievable. Who knew 40 years ago when I started off refereeing that I was going to have my own freaking podcast and, have my own store. Online store. Unbelievable. And it's all quality merch. Fonzie merch. One time, one true sport. Baby, it's quality all the way. So when you order it, they'll make it custom order, your size perfect, money back guarantee. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
The hats are great too. They're like really high quality stuff.
Everything's first class. Everything's damn, designer quality.
Absolutely, guys. So yeah,
I don't bullshit with all my jackets and stuff are nice. Stuff like that. All high, Adidas, all good quality. Time you buy some merchandise from me, it's badass. Especially the jackets, where I take a lot of pride in.
They look great
this
too.
Denim beautiful jean jacket. It's a Guess jacket. You guys remember Guess jeans?
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
So when I find stuff like that, I buy it and
That's it.
my stuff. Okay, enough of MLW. Let's see. Oh, this is John Thorne in Cleveland, which we just did. We just talked about it earlier. Cleveland. I've been going up there 4 years. John Thorne's badass, and I worked for him Thursday. During SummerSlam at a sold out. That's when the two tag team champions of WWE came down and because they started for this company.
Was that?
Excuse me.
Which name? Who were they? Do you know what names they were? They were the tag team champs.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yes.
Yes, those are great guys.
Yeah, but badass guys too. They were excellent in the ring, and they were very cool. They put everybody over in the dressing room. I really didn't know them. They come right up to me and said, "Fonzie, we used to watch you when we were kids." I said, "Oh fuck, what are those?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am a senior in the dressing room, which I'm proud of.
Ciampa, he was trained by Harley Race, I believe. So he's got some good technique down there for sure, no doubt about it.
Yes, yeah. And who we worked against that night, my guys worked against Motor City
Motor
guys.
City Machine Guns.
Oh yeah, they're badass. They're like the hottest tag team. They're getting ready to sign a big contract with one of the two, either
Yeah.
AEW or WWE. But they came right up to me and put me over. I had met them before, but now they're really fucking in demand in Japan, and they can work their ass off. They worked against my guys, Marino and Philly, and they had a sensational match. But again, they come up to me and said, "Fonzie, we used to watch you when back in the day." So it's flattering, believe me, it's very flattering. But I know I'm the senior, and they said I treated them good. Thank God that all these people that are in the business now, that are big stars now, and they've met me along the way when they were breaking in somewhere. Thank God I didn't say, "Hey, fuck off. Look, you're bothering me. Go away." And I'm good to everybody. And they don't forget it. They don't forget it. Get guys. Gabe Sapolsky. He wrote an article and put a picture of me and him and said, "Fonzie gave me great advice and didn't know me from Adam when I was breaking into the business, and a great guy." That makes you feel good.
Absolutely.
And Dusty did it for me. All the guys, Harley Race, Dusty, Jody Hamilton. All these guys, Nick Patrick's dad, Eddie Graham, all these guys, Dick Murdoch, all these guys did it for me. Bobo Brazil, Jack and Gerald Briscoe, they did it for me, so I'll pass it forward. Brian Blair, Steve Kerr, all these guys were good to me when I was young, and I'm passing it forward. That's my job.
Yep.
That's my job, and I like doing it.
Mm-hmm. Paying it forward for sure. Hey, so you talked about it. Giant Gonzalez officially debuts in the 1993 Royal Rumble. Harvey Whippleman is placed alongside him as the manager of the on-screen character. Did you get along with Harvey and Bruno? Did you get along?
Of course I did. Yeah. Get along with everybody. But I was happy. I wasn't ready to be a manager. I was I was good at refereeing, and I was in the ring with them. I could talk to them and help them through the match, because Giant Gonzalez was not a natural in the ring. He was athletic as they come. He played basketball. He was a big star in Europe, in European basketball. They wanted to bring him in to play for Atlanta Hawks, Professor NBA. But his knees were shot, so they made him into a wrestler. He was never a natural, and he didn't get the business like a lot of guys did. But, so it was tough. So it was good for me to be in the ring with him and help him out and tell him what to do and not to do. And if he got caught in a position, I'd get him out of it, or, tell him snatch a hold, or, you know what I mean? Don't sell so much. Don't do this, do that. So it was better for me to be in the ring with him that way. And great for Harvey Whippleman. He was great. He could talk. He was cool. Everybody liked him. Small guy, good guy.
The Rock
and badass too. You don't fuck with the Whippleman. He was a tough little kid.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. I liked him. I got along with him very well.
Be right there. Well, also, talk about the bodysuit and the fake fur and the airbrush abs. Is it the most ridiculous thing you ever seen as a costume? What did the Giant think of it? And at the end, was it a pain to get into and out of?
It was a little difficult. You remember that they built him at 8 foot. He was actually 7'7", a 22 size shoe, huge. And it was. They made him a couple of suits. You know what I mean? It wasn't that difficult. It was just, it was like a spandex type thing in the fur. We thought it was a little odd because he had been El Gigante in WCW, you know what I mean? Just wore regular wrestling clothes, but this made him stand out. I guess they want to portray him as like a Sasquatch or Giant Gonzalez, you know what I mean? He was extra. Uh, a lot of people didn't like it. Today, fans come up to me still, and they knew WrestleMania 9, which is right here.
Yeah.
Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez, and Fonzie sold out Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and the match was okay, but the Undertaker could work with anybody, but it was tough. It was tough for Giant Gonzalez he just wasn't a natural.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, he survived for 3 years and made big six figures. He made in 3 years he made probably close to $700,000, $800,000, $1 million in 3 years. That was pretty freaking good money back then in the early 90s. We started together, and I think the Flair Fujinami match in Tokyo, this is my first time meeting Giant Gonzalez. I refereed this match. He wrestled Curtis Hughes. You guys remember Curtis Hughes?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he wrestled him and he beat him, and so I'm trying to look good because I didn't have a contract with WCW yet. Dusty was the booker, so when I go to Japan, I want to dress nice. I got a picture of all of us somewhere. No, this is a picture of I'll tell you about this picture in a few minutes. I'm standing next to Hulk Hogan. We did 5 countries and 7 cities in 7 days. I'll tell you about that. But I got a picture like this, a group picture of all of us at a welcome party for Japanese, and I'm dressed really nice. And anyway, so I hadn't signed a contract, so I want to look good. So my haircut was fucking perfect, shaved perfect. I had a long sleeve shirt with a bow tie, and I had my dear old mom who passed away a few years ago, and I miss her a lot. I had to sew a Japanese flag and an American flag on it. Here, there's a shirt right there.
Oh, nice.
And brand new designer pants, brand new Nike. So I look like $1 million. And the Japanese promoters, they loved it. They liked this, they liked the flag, because it was Flair and Fujinami, 65,000 people. I'm refereeing the main event. And it was a funny finish, a title switch and all that. And in Japan, at ringside, usually there's 10, 12, 13, 14 photographers taking pictures. They're allowed at ringside. I mean, they're actually leaning on the apron taking pictures.
Right. So
Giant Gonzalez won the match, beat Curtis Hughes 1, 2, 3. So I try to think of something different. What can I do? I can't raise it, So I said, Giant, back up into the turnbuckle. I'm going to jump up on the second rope and illustrate how big you are and get your hand up.
Right.
So when I did that, every photographer went towards us and started shooting pictures. Gonzalez started to walk away and said, no, stay here. So we posed for like a minute in that pose, looking at each camera, and it made the cover of the largest sports magazine in Japan.
That's awesome, man.
Very cool. So, hey, I'm trying to promote myself.
That's it, man. You got to get yourself over.
And then it got me, and Dusty hired me that night.
How about that?
Because I did not have a contract. He was going to bring me in eventually because I was Dusty's guy in Florida, working with him in Florida for so many years.
Right. Well, look at that photo. Heck yeah.
That was in the early 80s. And here's a magazine with me, Dusty, and Kevin Sullivan, God bless him, who's back in the hospital, not doing too good. But hopefully he kicks out pretty soon. And I keep tabs on him. And everybody, best wishes to him.
Yeah, big prayers for Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, big guy. So, I got hired that night. Dusty said, hey, maybe it's going to happen for you. I'm going to have Jody. He's talking about Jody Hamilton.
Yeah, the assassin.
I have Jody call you, baby. And a week later, Jody called me and said, hey, you started on this date. And they sent me the booking sheet. We were at work. 7 to 10 days on and 3 days off. All over the fucking world we were going. It was crazy. And then they put me with Giant Gonzalez because him and I clicked.
Yeah,
So
right.
we got along. I speak a little bit of Spanish. He spoke perfect English, by the way, anyway. We get along good, and he couldn't drive a car, so they put us together and they paid me extra. Dusty said, "Hey, Fonzie, we want you to be Giant Gonzalez's personal assistant, and don't worry, we're gonna pay you extra." They didn't. I would have paid them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they gave me a big bonus, and you know, I had an Avis. The only thing he'd fit comfortably in would be an Avis Cadillac. So they provided us with. I had a Cadillac, 365 days a year paid for. Traveling around the world with the largest athlete on the planet was pretty cool, and it got us special treatment. They wanted him because he was such a giant, unusual. People like Baywatch, where Pamela Anderson called the office and said, "Hey, we want to do an episode around Giant Gonzalez on Baywatch," and of course I'm with him because I'm his personal assistant.
Yeah.
So they flew us out to Los Angeles, and we were there a week shooting this 1 hour episode. It actually is 43 minutes with commercials and stuff. And Giant Gonzalez was on there. And I was on there too, but I was playing volleyball in the back. You wouldn't know it was me. But, I was there, so they just used me as a filler. But it was pretty cool. And then we did other stuff like appearances and everything. You remember Hulk Hogan's television show, Thunder in Paradise? We had the big boat, and his sidekick was Chris Lemon, Jack Lemon's son. And
that's right. Yep.
Carol Off, the supermodel. She was in, she played in the TV series and stuff. So I met all these people, and here's a picture of us on set. And we filmed in Florida. Thunder in Paradise. Here's Fonzie and Giant Gonzalez on the set of Hulk Hogan's, the most famous wrestler on the planet, Hulk Hogan, by far. That was on the set of Thunder in Paradise.
That's awesome.
That's a grenade launcher he's got, and I got some type of freaking machine gun or whatever.
Machine gun, some sort of rifle. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have a speaking part. Giant Gonzalez did. But again, at the end of the show, they show Hogan catching the bad guy, and then everybody's happy. There's Carol Aud and Chris Lemon all high-fiving, having cocktails on the beach, and there's people in the background playing volleyball, and I was one of the people in the background playing volleyball. So another perk, you might like this one. I might have told you this, is I get a phone call. We're working for WCW. And Giant Gonzalez, I'm his personal assistant. I get a phone call. My cell phone rings. I don't recognize the number. I said, "Hello." He said, "Fonzie?" I said, "Yeah, speaking." He said, "Ted Turner."
Yeah.
I thought the voice were ribbing me, I said, "Oh, yeah, sure, there's Ted Turner." I said, "Hey, what can I do for you, Ted?" I also would have called him Mr. Turner. I thought he was a rib, but it was Ted Turner calling me. He owns CNN, he owns TBS, he owns Atlanta Braves, he owns this, he owns that. He's the largest bison owner nobody owns more bison on the planet than he has bison farms in Ted Turner.
My goodness.
Did you know that, Dominic?
No, I think you told me maybe last week, but I didn't know that till you told me. So that's crazy.
Yeah. So the reason for the phone call, I said, "Well, what can I do for you, Mr. Turner?" He says, "Fonzie, I owned the Atlanta Braves, and they were winning World Series. They had just won like 2 or 3 World Series in the last 5 years. Atlanta was smoking." He says, "I'd like for you to take the Giant to one of the games and sit in my private booth where me and Jimmy Carter would sit, and the camera would pan over and there during one of the, segments on the 3-hour game, pan over to the Giants, and the camera stops on the Giant. I'm sitting right next to him, Jimmy Carter's seat, and he's sitting in Ted Turner's
The
seat.
Turners,
Of
yeah.
course, they're not there though. I would have liked to meet Jimmy Carter.
How about that? That would be something.
And they say, "Wow, the Atlanta Braves are doing so good. It even brings the largest athlete on the planet to come out and watch our team." And it doesn't say Ed Fonzie too. It just talks about the Giants. So, that was pretty cool. That's what kind of perks that we got from being the largest athlete on the planet. It was pretty cool, and the women loved it. But anyway, and the Giant was so cool, man. I couldn't believe that we had a good spot for WrestleMania 9. And here's a picture of him grabbing me by the throat. He's going to choke slam both of us. That's Tatanka. You guys remember?
Yeah, Tatanka, yep.
Yeah, I see him all the time at these WrestleCons and conventions and stuff. He looks great. Tatanka. So that's a pretty cool pic of Giant Gonzalez. And
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
We always got different treatment from anybody. We walk into any restaurant on the planet and we get they don't know us from Adam, but he's the tallest athlete on the planet, and plus I'm putting him over too. And so yeah, he's the tallest athlete on the planet. The manager comes over and they comp our meals. You eat 2 or 3 steaks, and then a lot of them we want to pay. We're making money, but or if they come to a meal, our server is going to get a hell of a tip. We get a $600, and he didn't drink. I drank a little bit, so I'd order a couple of cocktails. Our bill would be $400 or $500 at Fleming's or the famous steak place.
Yeah.
And they comped it, and I leave the server a couple $100 bills or something. It was pretty cool. So all kind of perks for being a personal assistant to the largest athlete on the planet.
No doubt.
Oh, one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
What's the name of the famous coffee company? Oh, Starbucks. I think Starbucks wants to do something with us. You order a Fonzie or Hogan, or you order a tall boy. Giant Gonzalez. Oh, give me Giant Gonzalez. Oh, give me Hulk Hogan. Oh, I'll take a Fonzie today. So we're trying to work that deal out. I don't think it's going to happen, but
it might happen. I know
if it does, free coffee for everybody and me.
I know some people at Starbucks. You maybe make it happen.
It's possible.
Yeah. Hey, so what was Vince's early impressions of Giant Gonzalez after he started getting into the WWE? And then what was Vince's impressions of you as a referee too?
Loved me as a referee. He knew me before. Vince studies everybody. He knows everybody. That's all. There's only 2 companies, WCW and WWE. ECW came along later, in '95, and I was a part of that. But he knew about me. He was very impressed, and he said, "Fonzie, you're very athletic. You move good. You're small. We like you. You make the other guys look big." He always put me over, and I was very knowledgeable because I worked with Dusty and Eddie Graham and all these guys that knew the business, so I could come up with finishes and call a whole match for the guys and help the green guys. And I was sensational at what I did. I was very good at what I did. I'm not afraid. Good for something. I know the wrestling business very well, and there's not a lot of people out there that can say I was the shits or talk bad about me, because I really busted my ass and enjoyed the business. The business has been good to me. So Vince loved me. He said, "Fonzie, you're great. You're doing a great job." I fit right in. I dress nice, changed the dress code. I told you, I look like $1 million. I'm always on time. I'd rather be 2 hours early than 5 minutes late. And I believe in that. Presentation is everything. I was good in the ring. And you asked me, what do you think about Giant Gonzalez after time goes by?
Yeah.
Well, here's my opinion. You can't say what somebody's thinking. You know what I mean? But this is what I think, what Vince is thinking. Well, I'm paying this giant big money. Thank God he's giant. He's an attraction that way, because he's certainly not a 5-star wrestler or entertainer in the ring. He's got it, but he's lacking. Mm-hmm. He's not a natural, but he's good enough to get by. Especially when we put him with guys that can work their ass off, like
Like
Steve Lombardi or
yeah.
anybody, or Curtis Hughes. They put him with guys that know how to work with, you know what I mean, can help the Giant out. They didn't put him with another green guy because it didn't make sense. Look what happened to Bruiser Brody and Lex Luger in the famous cage match. They put two green guy against a veteran, temperamental, been in business for a long time, and the match ended up not being good for Lex Luger. But so Vince knew what he could get out of the Giant. He didn't put him in a position to make him look like bad. He put him in a position that he think he could handle, and he ended up doing well with them. And why Giant Gonzalez left, we didn't get fired. We didn't no misconduct. We didn't get busted for drugs or nothing like that. As the Giant and the time we were there, he had a slight case of diabetic was starting to come. You know, Giants don't live long.
Yes.
He break my heart and make me cry. Literally, I would tears in my eyes when he would say, "Fonzie, you know, I'm gonna die young. The Giants don't live long, you know." Fuck, used to break my heart when he told me that. Damn it, Giant, and he did die young.
Mm-hmm.
So he was becoming a little slowing down because of his size, and he became a full-blown diabetic, still trying to work, and he had enough, and he had saved his money. He was real frugal with his money. Not cheap like you wouldn't buy me dinner. I mean, but he was, you know, didn't blow money on Corvettes and airplanes and Harleys and shit. Very sensible with his money. But had everything he could possibly want. You know, if he wanted something, we would go buy it. But he wasn't stupid with his money. So as he's becoming more, you know, his medical started getting a little off, and he approached Vince and said, "Vince, I just can't take the road because the road is very tough. I don't care who you are. You're working 7 to 10 days on, 3 days off, month after month, year after year. It's hard on the body. Traveling, it is tough, brother. Believe me. I just work weekends now.
Yeah.
And it's tough, you know. Damn it. So like this Friday, I'm in Orlando, Florida, which is 87 miles from my door to my beautiful villa where my beautiful tall blonde wife and I live. It's 87 miles to the building where we're running CCW show. So I'm driving there, doing a show. I'm sidekick, color commentating that night. So I got to stay to the end. So I drive back and I get home. Then I got an early flight to Philadelphia Saturday morning because I'm in Philadelphia. Doing a virtual signing with Rob Feinstein, Two Cold Scorpio, Sandman, Todd Gordon, and Fonzie. We're doing starts at 2 o'clock, I believe. Just go to Feinstein's website or whatever, and you'll not hard to find. In fact, I think I sent you the ad.
Oh, yeah, you probably did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I reposted it, and it's getting a lot of interest. So, but what I'm saying is, you know, I'm only working 2 days a week, and it starts getting tough, especially that weekend with SummerSlam last week. I flew in Thursday, did Thursday, Friday, flew to Miami Sunday, Saturday, did a show there, then flew home the next day, Sunday morning. And that was right before the hurricane. That was the last flight to leave South Florida to get into Tampa. Everything else was canceled.
Wow.
I was the last one, so I was lucky to get on that. I was ready to rent a car and drive through the hurricane and the bad weather just to get home. But, you know, I got on that last flight. I was lucky. Somebody upstairs likes me, Daddy.
Yep. How about that?
So
Cool.
that's a tough schedule. So you can imagine beating up a guy that's a giant, and been turning diabetic, his knees, his body's blown out, plus they don't live long. So he asked Vince, he said, "Vince, I want to finish up," and all in good faith with Vince. Vince treated us good all the way to the end. And I wasn't retiring. You know, the Giant was retiring, so Vince used me another 6 or 8 months before, you know, I moved on to ECW.
ECW and stuff. Yeah.
But the Giant was well liked by Vince. Even though he wasn't a 5-star worker, the Giant was an attraction. People wanted to see the largest athlete on the planet, and believe me, they wanted to take a picture with him. When we went and did meet and greets and stuff like that, we had a long line to Idaho because the largest, they'd say, with my idea, I said, hey, you announced the largest athlete on the planet, you know, but now they got Ming, that kid that played Houston basketball.
Yeah, Ming.
But at that time in 91, 92, and 93, Giant Gonzalez was it. Nobody was made Shaq look like
yes.
You know, he was a tall kid. This guy was big, unusual big.
Well, let me ask you, Fonzie, from your perspective too, you know, how he packaged him with the furry suit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And think about what WCW did with him. Is there a certain way you would have presented Giant Gonzalez to kind of get him over a little bit more from like a different?
No, I think Vince did a good job because remember, he was limited with his talent. He wasn't an actor. It was hard for him to get in the ring and work an angle, and he wasn't a good talker. That's why they put him with Whippleman. I might have done things a little different, but that wasn't my job. My job was taking care of the Giant, being his personal assistant and being a 5-star referee. But if I had to, I would have took him out of the monkey suit.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like the name Giant Gonzalez. I like that name, El Gigante. That's, you know, that's Giant Gonzalez sounds good. Andre the Giant Gonzalez. So I would have kept the name. I might have changed it. I wasn't against the fursuit with the body, you know, wasn't against it, but, you know, that's what Vince wanted. He was paying the bills. He'd have whatever the fuck he wanted. I know that's a tough question, you know. I don't know. I wasn't put in that position, so I don't know what I would have done different, but I would have definitely used this, you know.
I always just think with him, you could have, a different attire might have helped him a little bit at the very.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean,
yeah,
at the very least. But okay.
What different attire? What would we, you know?
What would they have done?
You want him to look like a regular wrestler with tights and you know, you want him to look different.
Wanted to look different.
And that suit made him look different. People didn't know what the fuck is the thing. Is that Sasquatch? Are they trying to pass him as Bigfoot, or what the hell was the suit? So they kept him guessing.
Yeah, you know, and you think about the time period for WWF at the time, it was very cartoony and over the top. So it kind of played into what they were doing there back then.
You had, Daddy.
Oh, yeah, switching it up. We got the CCW match.
And Coastal Championship Wrestling, Daddy. I am there this Friday in Kissimmee. Coastal Championship Wrestling, color commentating, and we got a hell of a show lined up this Friday night in Kissimmee.
How about that, man?
Thanks for letting me push my stuff on no problem. Thanks for letting me push my stuff on my own podcast.
Yeah, on your own show.
Hey, Daddy, I can talk about anything I want. You said
it's your show. That's it. So the Undertaker has since said that working with Giant Gonzalez was one of the most difficult experiences in career, and he quoted by saying, "Giant Gonzalez,
he couldn't work. He couldn't work."
He said he made Giant Khali look like Luthez. What did the Giant think of his matches with the Undertaker? Was he at least having fun, and was Undertaker overall easy to work with?
The Undertaker was very professional. He knew he had to handle the match. Undertaker knew what he had to do and called the match and, you know, do the best he can and bring the best out of the Giant. He did, and he wasn't mad at him because, you know, it's not the Giant's fault that they put him in WrestleMania 9, the biggest event on the planet, you know, the biggest guy on the planet, the largest athlete on the planet, and the biggest event against fucking the famous Undertaker. Are you kidding me? Yeah. So Undertaker was very professional, very cool about the whole thing. And he knew he was limited, so, I mean, they didn't have him do silly shit like a leapfrog. They did what, you know, he could do reasonable. Undertaker worked with him and got the most out of him. It was very cool to work with. Thank you, Undertaker, for being so cool with us and helping my giant keep his job and working. Thank you so much, Undertaker. And I'll never forget that. It was very good. So the week before WrestleMania, Vince McMahon wants the guys that are in the WrestleMania kind of book a town like they booked a town in some college close to New York. It was after Monday Night Raw, and then Tuesday, and then so Tuesday they put the Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez in a match together to try to get a feel of what they're going to do in Las Vegas and Caesar's Palace in 7 days.
Sure.
So the finish they came up with was they have their thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, 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 bam. Finally, Giant Gonzalez grabs the referee, which was me, by the throat, picks him up, and choke slams him. Instead of letting the referee float down, I mean, he drove me like I owed him $1 million or something. Because instead of letting me float down, he like pushed me down so hard, he gave me a concussion. I had to go to the hospital. Knocked me out. Yeah, he didn't mean to. He did not get it. It wasn't a natural. And I'm his best friend. I'm his personal assistant. We became really good friends other than, I wasn't his personal assistant no more. He never called me that. I was more his best friend. We were on the road 3 years together, brother. You come close. And he didn't like a lot of guys in the car with us. So usually it was just me and him traveling together. Just me and him. We'd never split a room. Never split a room. We stayed at the Marriott. I'm at 102 and he's at 103. Right there. I'd get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Fonzie, I'm a little bit hungry. Would you mind going to McDonald's and getting me 6 Big Macs and 3 French fries and a couple of large Cokes? And I said, certainly will. Bam, that was my job. They're paying me an extra big bonus to do this kind of stuff. Yeah. So he said, would you mind? I said, would you mind? Are you kidding me? I'd go to McDonald's and boom, get him his stuff. Or Fonzie, would you mind going there, whatever, and get him? Yeah. I get some unusual phone calls. You know the one I'm.
Oh yeah, we told it the last episode.
I'm happily married. But anyway, that was in the past. I get a phone call from the Giant. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I pick up the phone. I know it's Giant, and said, "Hey, Giant." He said, "Can you come to my room?" You know the story.
Oh yeah.
This is a pretty famous story. Hey, can you come to my room? And so I said, "Okay, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Let me get dressed." So I hung up, I got dressed, I go over to his room, he opens the door, he's naked. I said, "John, what are you doing naked?" Answer the door. He opens the door more, and there's a beautiful blonde. She looked like, I mentioned Pamela Anderson earlier.
Yep.
This girl looked like Pamela Anderson. She wasn't a girl that, from wrestling that are, there's some type of groupie sometimes as wrestling girls that hang out and just want to be with the wrestlers. They call them something, whatever, but wasn't. He met this girl in the mall. See, they were following us around. They hooked up, and boom. So he had a problem. He said, "Fonzie, would you help me out here?" And I helped him out. You know the story.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say it again.
They could tune into the last episode that we did.
Tune in. You want to hear the rest of that story? You're going to love it, Daddy.
It's a great one. It's a great
true story. It's
true
a true story.
So yeah, we talk about Hulk Hogan here a little bit. There's a famous backstage clip from this year's WrestleMania of Hulk Hogan and Gonzalez playfully locking up. Did Hulk immediately take to Jorge? Did he look at him as a potential opponent that could have wanted to continue his career in the WWE? Did they ever think of sizing him up with Hogan in WWE?
Well, Hogan wasn't working that much in '93 by choice. By choice, but we would work. Here's a picture I was trying to show you earlier, and how I try to get myself over. I'm Bill Alfonso. I don't have 22-inch pythons and blonde hair. I'm small guy, 165, and look average. So when we take group pictures, I let everybody get in position. Then I go stand next to the most famous guy in the group, and just
how to do it.
This is in the London Heathrow Airport. We did 5 countries and 7 cities in 7 days. So we're all flying home. This is the 8th day after 7 cities and 5 countries and 7. That's pretty hardcore, Daddy. We sold out wherever we went. 2 shows in Germany, 2 shows in London, 1 in France, 1 in Scotland, 1 in Edinburgh, Scotland. But anyway, so this is at the London Heathrow Airport, and you see me right here, standing right next to Hulk Hogan.
Oh, there you are.
Around me and shit. There's Terry Taylor, Yokozuna. There's all the guys, the Samoans. Let's see, there's Bam Bam Bigelow. I forget the Bastion Booger. Remember Bastion Booger?
Yeah, Mike Shaw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mike Shaw. Yeah.
Yep.
The Stein Boys, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. There's Hogan. Horace Boulder was, you know him? You heard that name? He's Hogan's nephew or something.
Yep.
There is Papa Shango.
Yep. Good father.
Brutus Barber Beefcake. And God bless him, Hart.
Owen?
Hart. So what a tour. There's Tito Santana, Mr. Fuji, and the Red Rooster. Remember the Red Rooster?
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Terry Taylor.
Yes. So we had a hell of a card. That's a pretty good card, wouldn't you say?
Oh, 100%. Look at that lineup right there.
Yeah. And this at the London Heathrow Airport in 93. And I'm standing next to the most famous professional wrestler on the planet ever. Nobody as famous as, my wife's a nurse. So we go to a couple parties a year, around Christmas time. She gets invited to some parties and stuff. And I'm mingling with doctors and all kind of people. And, and they become friendly after a couple of drinks. And they say, "Oh, Fonzie, what do you do for a living?" And I say, I don't want to say the word wrestling because that's outdated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm in the sports entertainment business." "Sports entertainment? What's that?" And I say one word. I don't say Steiner or Sting or Flair or, I say one name. I say, Hulk Hogan. "Oh, Hulk Hogan." Then they get it. "Oh, you're not. Oh, you're the rest." Boom. So everybody knows Hulk Hogan's name. You know what I mean? He's the biggest star ever in the business. I would debate that against anybody, but everybody agrees with me. Can you name a guy bigger than Hulk Hogan's name?
Not in wrestling. I mean, you could.
Right, in wrestling. The Rock now, but, Hulk Hogan's, Hulk Hogan, Daddy.
You could mention The Rock, but he's got the credit because of the movie stuff. Like, he was a big star in wrestling.
Hogan's only done a few movies.
That's it. And then
had his own television series, but everybody knows him from wrestling.
He's still a household name, and he put wrestling really much on the map. He did.
Yeah, I love Hogan.
Yeah.
I got multiple pictures with him, but I see him all the time. He's got a beat shop 37 minutes from my house in Clearwater. He has Monday night karaoke. Monday night, he's there. Jimmy Hart and all his boys and his kid Nick's there. And, it's pretty cool. I can go anytime I want. Hogan brings me right in. "Come on, Fonzie." I can't sing. I would never get on stage.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what would be your karaoke song if you had
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one? Say if you had to choose. If you had to choose, what would you pick?
I don't know. I would choose some Dusty Road song, like, David Allan Coe song.
There you go.
Something,
Yeah. Let's see here. Gonzalez would continue to wrestle The Undertaker at live events. Was there any major improvement between the ropes, or was it pretty much decided quickly that WWE would be moving on from Gonzalez as soon as they could with when it comes to like his ring style? They kind of understood where he was at from a wrestling
They knew what they had to work with. He wasn't a natural in the ring, so they wouldn't book him in every main event. They would book him. He was an attraction. Mm-hmm. Come see the tallest athlete on the planet, Giant Gonzalez, and himself was good enough. That was worth the money that Vince paid him. The attraction, because he was attraction. We walked through a mall, we walk anywhere we'd go, we would get fucking stared down, and people just couldn't believe how big he is.
Yeah.
They could not believe how big he was.
How did he interact with fans? Did he get like frustrated? Was he pretty good with fans? How did
he didn't get frustrated because listen, he was that big when he was 16 years old. You know what I mean? He grew up big, so he's been used to it. He's been used to people gawking and all that. So And then he started learning how to work. You know how the boys are. We're workers. You know what I mean? So he was good with the fans. And the fans were good to him. He was a respect for them, and they were a respect for him. Now, once in a while, you get a stupid fan that has something stupid, then but we get right out of it. We don't want to mingle with all that bullshit. We know how to put us in any situation, and we got in and out of it with ease, especially when we're there,
Yeah, right. I know. Hey, you'll run into I ran into stupid fans this weekend in Cleveland sometimes. Still happens.
Right? Yeah, it happens, brother. It happens all the time. And we love it when a stupid fan jumps in the ring. They get excited. They get so excited. They jump in the ring because their guy's getting beat up. They think they're going to do something. If this is not Vince or my wife, I'm not answering. Nope. I use Vince as a reference to WWE.
Yeah.
I know he's not with the company no more or whatever. But what was the question?
Just if he got along with fans overall.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he overall, he did really good. He didn't mind signing stuff, especially if they come up here and say, oh, Argentina, name his hometown, or name something cool about, his background, or, oh, you play ball and, European basketball, or we heard they brought you in for the Atlanta Hawks. Oh, he'd talk to the people. And even though if they were just wrestling fans at the arena, that's our job to put them over, put the fans over. But at a mall or something, if somebody come up and they didn't know he was a wrestler, they just know he's a big motherfucker. Am I allowed to cuss?
Oh, yeah. This is your show, Fonzie.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
No, you
I'm not I don't slang too much. Okay, I'll change that to put this Florida Championship Wrestling hat.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, he get along well. There's, very few altercations that, and if not, I would jump right in and get him out of it. But nobody wanted to challenge him anyway.
Yeah, right.
He was big. They were more amazed at his size.
Yeah.
They want to put his hand up against their hand, and his hand will be like this big, and they're, look like a baby hand. Well, that picture I showed you earlier, look, Hulk Hogan is the big guy. Take a look at this picture one more time. I'm not a small guy. I'm like 5'8.5", almost 5'9". Hogan's got to be 6'6" or something.
Something like that.
I'm not sure. Let me see. How tall is Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan is 6 feet 4 inches.
6'4". That's pretty damn big.
Big dude.
So take a look at this picture again.
Yeah, look at that.
And he dwarfs Hogan. Look at the size of that guy. It was absolutely God's creation. He created a giant.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Man.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. God bless him. And he did die young. He told me, told you before, he used to make me cry all the time. Fonzie, I'm going to die young. I'm going to die young too. This is a certain name for the disease. I can't think of aclophilia something. But we just call it the Giant's disease,
Right.
Sure. I can ask my wife. She would know, but I should know. He was one of my dear friends for 3 years. And then I remained friends with him. We'd call each other until the day he died,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We would talk, once or twice a month till the day he died.
That's great. Always keeping connection with people is always good.
Yeah, especially with him. We get along so well, and we were together every day for 3 years.
Yeah, inseparable. So Gonzalez also made a couple appearances in Memphis for the USWA. Memphis helped further career. Helped further career of many larger-than-life wrestlers, including Kane and more. Did Jerry Jarrett or Jerry Lawler believe they could do significant business with Gonzalez? What did they think of Giant Gonzalez, Jerry Jarrett?
They loved him.
Yeah.
They loved his size, and they knew the baggage. They knew what they were getting into. They knew he wasn't a classic worker, but, he could get in there and entertain the guys, entertain the audience for 12, 15 minutes. But usually 10 to 12 minutes is enough. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They go in there, all this stuff, and be very entertaining. and the people were amazed at his size. So, of course, Lawler loved him. Everybody loved the Giant.
Yeah.
There's nobody where you're going to get talk bad about the Giant. I'd almost guarantee you that nobody will talk bad about the Giant. They might not. They might say, "Well, he wasn't a great worker." We all know that. Even
Sure.
he knew, Fonzie, I'm not great. It's hard for me to do this. I don't throw a good punch. And I said, "Well, don't throw a punch. If you can't throw a good one, don't throw a punch. Do what you do good. You choke slam the fuck out of me. Do that to the, I'm kidding, but I just do stuff that you can, throw them in and bring the boot up, and then run into the boot. Not that difficult. And he got along. He had 7 or 8 moves that he did and got by with that. That's all he needed to do. The attraction was him being 8 foot. Well, not really 8. They built him as 8 foot, but 7 foot.
Still a big dude.
Was seeing the largest athlete on the planet, the 8 foot Giant Gonzalez. That was the attraction.
That's it, man. That's it. Hey, so guys, just a reminder, if you guys want to get entered tonight to win an 8x10, use the super chat. And you also so tonight you could win the 8x10, but then our next episode will announce a winner for the tracksuit. And if you ask a super chat, you're automatically entered. We have Liam Evans. He's got 2 entries in total already.
Hey, Liam Evans, daddy.
And so here he is. Here's his question for you too, Fonzie. Thanks for the £5. He says, "Hey, Fonzie, out of all the wrestling matches that you refereed during your career, which match stands out to you as your favorite and why? Do you have a certain favorite match that you
And that's an impossible question to answer because I refereed so many big superstars. I mean, when I broke in, I got to work with guys that were retiring, like Bobo Brazil. He was on the tail end of his career. The Sheik, Sabu's uncle, and all these guys that I worshiped and looked at when I was a kid growing up. And then to work with these guys, Dusty and Flair and all these different wrestlers. It's hard to pinpoint. I like working with Harley Race. I used to love working with Barry Windham and Ric Flair. They didn't go 60 minutes through the time limit.
Yeah.
You don't see that no more. 60 minutes. They call it a Broadway.
Broadway, yep.
Broadway. That's a great question, but man, you guys just don't have the answer for that.
I got
the Flair Fujinami match in front of 65,000 people. It was just the setup, and they had a hell of a match. But hey, the referee, the main event in front of 65,000 people in the Tokyo Dome in Japan, and there's Mount Fuji in the background. Pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Pretty darn awesome. So speaking of a match you refereed,
anyway.
Yeah, great question, Liam. Great question. Our research guy, Robert D. Felice, he happened to put this note in our notes too. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart wrestle in a steel cage match that would be released as a home video exclusive in December of 1993. You are the referee for the match. Do you have any memories of that? And Zero memory. Yeah. How about that? See, you ref so many matches.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm telling the truth. I wish I remember now. If I watch this, if I see the match and I'm sitting there with you and you and I are watching the match, then I'll remember it and then talk about it and say, oh, they talked about the dressing room stuff and this and that. I would know. But just to say that, I can't think of the match. Also, and Shawn Michaels is badass in the ring. He was kind of a dick but in the ring, he was fucking phenomenal. And Bret Hart, one of the best workers in the business, top 10 for sure. Who's better than Bret Hart? Him and Shawn Michaels, he's had unbelievable matches, great matches.
Absolutely. Shawn back then, he was a little bit of a different cat for sure when it came to how he handled himself.
Yeah, I've seen him since then. I mean, I had no problem with him, but a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't like him because he thought he was Shawn Michaels.
Did you get along with Bret Hart, though, overall, when you were?
Yeah, because I'm old school like him.
Yeah.
We're about the same age, give or take a few years. We both work territories. We know 60-minute Broadways, and he respected me for Eddie Graham, and him and his dad and Eddie Graham were good friends, and you know, I got to work with all these guys. You know, the famous dungeon and
Oh
up
God.
there where they used to beat the fuck out of the people. They said, but Bret was badass. I love Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. He's got a little chip on his shoulder, you know, but
I think with wrestling though, I always hear this too. It's
yeah.
like, if you have, it's good to have a chip on your shoulder because you have to prove yourself, and then you also have to have a bit like of an ego in a way to get to be a star that you are, and like wanting to. We were just talking about too how it's like how important it is to get yourself over, you know, and it's that kind of business where you kind of, you know, you make friends and stuff like that, but you have to kind of look out for yourself too, and so I always think you know, Bret handled himself like a pro, and it's just I thought he brought like legitimacy to like a certain product during the time
He
where
sure
WWE,
did. He sure
yep,
as hell did. He
with
was fantastic in the ring.
absolutely,
Fantastic.
absolutely, yeah, he was
And he liked me because came from the same breed. You
right.
know, I was taught the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And we got along perfect. He loved me.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got along great. When I see him sometimes at these WrestleCons or whatever, he'll break away from everybody, come right up to me, or I go right up to him. Fonzie, hey, we put each other over, and you know, we generally care for each other.
absolutely, yeah.
You know, I think he was a great guy in and out of the ring, and you know, he's had a few beefs with different people, spit on Hogan, on Vince,
Vince.
yeah, but you know what, whatever.
Yep, yep.
So hey, I'm getting a lot of messages on my phone. Hey, I'm watching your podcast right now. Great stories, watching you live, and I got 20 or 30 messages right now.
Hell yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
so because of RVD's
I'm from Boston. Hey, I love the Hogan story. This other guy. Hey, yeah, everybody's putting. Hey, Fonzie, great stories. You're laying them out good. You're an excellent storyteller.
Absolutely.
You know, they're enjoying our stuff.
Yeah, 100%. It's a, you know, yeah, and we're just Fonzie. The crazy thing about it too is like this is only episode 5, and like this is episode 2 of Giant Gonzalez, so we're barely scratching the surface with all the stuff that you've been around on. So it's pretty nice.
And I spin off and talk about all kinds of shit. I talked to Dominic earlier. I said, hey, give me a format. We're going to talk about Gonzalez, but we're doing a good thing on Gonzalez, but I get to drift off and talk about this and that. You know, so I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. That's the great thing about it, though. So what else do I want to? Oh yeah, so you mentioned it. Gonzalez ultimately leaves WWE in late 1993, and like you said, you only stuck around as a referee for a little bit while too. Do you wish you kind of stayed on long term as a referee for WWE, or were you happy to kind of?
Well, if I stayed there long term, I might have not went to ECW. And ECW prolonged my career, becoming, you know, they brought me in there as Vince McMahon wants, and WWF wants the doctor, his lawyer, and the 2 kids at ringside. ECW was 90% male, the age of 19 to 29. Hardcore, they wanted blood, guts, and stuff. So they knew that I just came from WWF, and I wanted to make ECW calm it down and take the hardcore shit out of making family entertainment. People wanted to hang me. And then I was supposed to be there for 4 weeks. Paul Heyman said, Fonzie, we're bringing you in for 4 weeks. We'd have 911 choke slam me, and then you're gone. Thank you. But my gimmick got over so bad that the fans hated my fucking guts for wanting to stop their party, wanting to stop the Type 8 death match with a little blood, or do this, anti-that, suspend the choke slam. I was anti-ECW. The people wanted to kill me. I had to have armed security walk me to my car every time I did a show at the ECW arena. They wanted to kill me. And then Paul Heyman had this bright idea to turn me into a manager with Taz, and he damn sure did. And then, you know, my deal ran out with Taz because Taz could talk. Taz never got over until it became Taz. Not because they put it with me, but he had 10 different gimmicks. He was Tasmaniac, Monkey Boy was this and that. But when he became Taz, he got over. And then, you know, we helped each other. And then he didn't need me no more because Taz was good on the mic and he had the team Taz and all that. He didn't need Fonzie. Who did? Sabu. Sabu didn't talk. Hey, Daddy, one take. They call me One Take Fonzie on my promos.
Right.
After a while, I wasn't one take first, but you know, I learned to do one take. You know,
One Take Fonzie. I was trying to think of the actor that did it one take. Always one take. He was always good at it. I can't remember.
It's hard. It's hard doing stuff like that. You know, sometimes people think it's easy. You're traveling, getting beat up on the road and shit, and then you got to go and do your stuff. It's crazy, man. But I handle myself well in the business. I'm well liked, and I did a good job. And if it wasn't for, you said, did I wish I would have stayed at WWF longer? No, I think it worked out the way it was supposed to. And if I didn't go to ECW, I wouldn't be here having my own podcast because I was a 5-star referee. And, you know, there's a lot of referees that are really good.
Yeah.
I'm one of the better ones, but there's a lot that are really good. And because the reason I'm here today and I'm working every fucking weekend somewhere in the country and getting inducted to the Cauliflower Alley coming up and doing this and that is because of ECW.
Right.
Not because I was a great referee. That helps too. Believe me, that helps a lot. But why I'm here is because of ECW. So thank you, Todd Gordon. Thank you, Paul Heyman. Thank you, Sandman, and all the guys at RVD and Sabu for helping me get over and working with me. Thanks to all my people. Thanks to the fans that have treated me really well. I became, I was kind of a heel referee when I brought in. But after a while, when I went with Van Dam and Sabu and we got over, I became beloved. I was more a character than a bad guy. I was, a beloved character. It was like a cartoon character.
Yeah, right?
I was a cartoon, basically.
Well, you think about it, and
hey, Daddy.
Over the top, but you think about it too, and like you mentioned it, it's like, yeah, if you stuck with WWE, maybe the pay would have been great, and like you would have had a consistent, steady source of income, and like traveled around more and everything like that. But you wouldn't have become Fonzie, like you would have been a referee, and that would have
exactly. Hey,
yep.
And I didn't make peanuts in ECW. Todd Gordon made sure I got paid, brother. Yeah. And just working Friday and Saturday, working 2 days a week. Oh my God, it was so good. And brother, I think I made 1 year. I think I made $70,000.
Wow.
With the pay-per-views. Hey, our first pay-per-view, we did really well. It was a barely legal or whatever it was.
97, yeah.
Paul Heyman, I got the picture somewhere. And Paul Heyman says, Fonzie, I got a problem. I said, well, what's the problem, Paul Heyman? He said, I don't know what to pay you. You were in the main event. You were trying to boom it. You were this, you were that. I don't know what to pay you. We did well on the pay-per-view. I don't know how much to pay you. I said, well, pay me the same thing Vince paid me for WrestleMania. And he said, what's that? I gave him the number, and he matched it. He gave me a check, the same thing Vince gave me for WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace.
Wow, how about that?
Excuse me?
How about that? That's awesome.
Yeah, excellent. I'll give you the figure, but I don't want you to fall off the chair.
Right?
That. He did. He
wow.
paid me. If I give you a figure, you wouldn't probably you would say, no, Fonzie, you're fucking lying. I'll give you the figure. 25 grand.
Wow.
I make more than some of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Well, he was paying me back for a lot of stuff, because we were making a lot of money when we started there. We were, making $7 or $8 million a year, but we're spending $8 million to make $7. You know what I mean? So, right. But finally, I always got paid. I remember maybe some $50,000 years, 40, 30, 40. I was only there 5 years. So I started in 95 till it closed. I think they did 22 pay-per-views, and I was on 21 of them. I didn't do the last one. Wow. Because the company was falling apart there.
Yeah, unraveling at that point.
I didn't do the last one, but I made fucking great money there. So it wasn't about the money, the issue. I would have stayed with Vince. Of course, I would have made, the six figures, but damn, Paul Heyman and Ty Gordon sure paid me good.
And you wouldn't have been a personality. You would have just been a referee. And it's like,
Exactly.
yep. So
And I'd be sitting here with my fucking partner and having my own store online in the store and, selling jackets and doing this and working every weekend. It was because of ECW. I owe Paul.
Yeah.
I owe Paul Ty Gordon.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Gonzalez here before we wrap up. Here's a kind of fun stuff. I think you might have talked about this maybe last week or last episode too. Talk about a regular food order from Giant Gonzalez. What was his typical go-to meals?
Damn, he liked a good steak. He would go into, we couldn't afford to go. We could, but it wasn't feasible to go into Fleming's and eat $100 steak. You know what I mean? So we'd go to, what do you call those steak places, like Longhorn and those like that. And, you'd order a couple of 3 pounds of steak, you know what I mean? A couple of baked potatoes, an order at McDonald's. He liked the little hamburgers, just the
sliders?
hamburger.
Yeah.
Well, they get the Big Mac, they get the quarter pounder, just a regular hamburger. You'd order 20 of them. You know what I mean? Well, look, he had a big body. That big body took a lot of energy to run. Mm-hmm. So, he drank his juice. So he tried to eat healthy, but it's impossible to eat healthy on the road. Yeah. What do you got? Denny's at night and freaking Waffle House at night. Where else did you go eat at 1 o'clock in the morning? Say you do it. You get out of wrestling at 11 o'clock. By the time you shower and shit, you're 11:30 in your car going to the hotel looking for a place to eat. And they got Denny's and, Village Inn and places like that. So, we go to those places and order breakfast and order, 12 scrambled eggs, 4 or 5 pieces of toast, 6 or 7 sausage patties and, and half gallon of milk or something. And he was good to go. He did eat a lot because he was forced to eat a lot to feed that body.
Right. He's a big dude, very big dude. It's crazy. Yeah. I was with Kevin Nash this past weekend in Cleveland, and he's a big dude, obviously.
Yes.
Think about Giant Gonzalez and his size. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, right? It's just crazy.
Yeah, well, the perfect example is that picture of Hulk Hogan and me and Giant Gonzalez.
Right.
Hulk Hogan's 6'4". We just Googled it, 6'4", and a giant in his own way. But he dwarfed the most famous wrestler on the planet. He dwarfed him.
Right. Robert asked some other good questions in here too. Did you?
Okay, Robert.
Yep. Did you accompany Gonzalez to his matches in Japan in the mid 1990s? In one match, he teamed with the second Black Tiger, which was Eddie Guerrero. What did you happen to accompany him during his Japan tour?
I went to Japan when when we did the tour with the Fujinami Ric Flair, 65,000 people. That was the only time I went to Japan with Giant Gonzalez.
Okay.
My wife, but went there a couple of times before Gonzalez with Hiro Matsuda, who owned a little bit of Florida Championship Wrestling. He would send me over there. And we would get a lot of young guys like the fabulous Muda. You know Muda?
Yeah, great Muda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought him into Florida and trained a lot of Kendo Nagasaki. A lot of Japanese guys come over. And then would send American guys over there. And then Matsuda would send me over. I've been in Japan several times. And we went there with ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there with ECW. Let's see. I do have some pictures from the Japanese. Oh, here it is, right here.
Oh.
Here is, the famous steakhouse, you name it.
Yeah, Rabira.
Yeah. So there's Fonzie, Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, the two Dudley Boys, and Shane Douglas.
Wow.
And Rivera Steakhouse. We all got the.
You got the jackets. How about that? That's great.
Pretty cool, right, Daddy?
Pretty damn cool right
So
there.
that was ECW.
Yeah.
ECW. Hey, we were the third company. Can you imagine? We created the third company was WWF and WCW. And WCW had unlimited Ted Turner money. And, the WWF for WrestleMania and stuff. I was going to show you something. It was crazy about Japan. It's one of my favorite cities. But anyway, I can't remember what I was talking about, thinking about. But that's a great picture.
That's an awesome picture.
And let me grab something and show you. It's a jacket that the Japanese office. I'll be right back, Daddy.
Okay, no problem. Guys, while Fonzie's gone there, let me tell you too a little about One True Sport. One True Sport is where you can go and get that merchandise that you saw here. I'll pop it up here for you guys to see. So I made new Fonzie merch. So you got the classic referee tee from his management tee from the ECW days. Then I made a classic NWA referee t-shirt that pays homage to Fonzie. And then obviously we have the signature ECW Sabu, Rob Van Dam, Bill Alfonso hat. You can get those by scanning that QR code or go to onetruesport.com. Guys, if you like what you're seeing too, by the way, become a member of One True Sport. We have we have 3 different levels. One is the contender level at $7.99. And you can sign up there. You get early access to the shows. We post them early up on there, the audio versions. So you'll get a private RSS feed. On top of that, too, you'll get my weekly hotline. I give a little hotline update about certain things that I think is intriguing in the business. And maybe some of my experience, like this past weekend, I talked about my whole SummerSlam experience, who I ran into, everything like that. Gave you a little bit of behind the scenes info. So, and then we have the $24.99, which is our workhorse level. From there, you can get bonus episodes that you get. We do interviews with some of the talent. You get to tune in live to a question and answer with me, Marcus, my brother, or Paul Bromwell, or other host of One True Sport. So there's certain levels there. And then you can also sign up for the traveling champion level, where you'll get quarterly merch. You'll get a live Q&A with one of our talents behind the scenes. You'll get a birthday shout out. You'll get plenty of other stuff. There's so much different levels you can check out with. Go to onetruesporttv.com, hit subscribe, get the word out about us. We're hoping to grow this thing, and definitely check out, like I said, the Fonzie merch as well. I'll pop that up one more time. You can scan that QR code or go to onetruesport.com and take a look at all that Fonzie merch. We also got RVD merch. We got Sabu merch. We got a whole bunch of legends there. But Fonzie is our only referee that we have right now on the site. So you be sure.
Referee manager, Daddy. Call it right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
So okay, Tokyo is one of my favorite cities. I don't know why. I just love Japan. So,
look at that.
1972. They started the company in 72.
Yep. That looks great. Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That is, here, hold it over a little bit more, Fonzie, in front. Yeah. Okay. That looks awesome. Yeah. Heck yeah, Fonzie. That looks great. Dang. Little New Japan action.
Yeah, lovely, right?
Yeah,
so,
you can't beat
that.
I
was presented this by Hattori, who was a referee. You know the name, Hattori?
Yep, absolutely. And
so my first time in Tokyo, I met him, and then I went over for the big match in 91. I think it was 91, where the Flair, Fujinami, and all that. So you remember everybody was on the kick, the Halliburton's bag, the luggage. Real high dollar. Flair had one. All the big dogs had one. So I just made them. I bought one, a gold one. It was fucking beautiful, and I bought it for the trip to Japan. You know, look like somebody when I get off the plane.
Yeah,
I want to be dressed nice and look like somebody. You know, so I got nice luggage, the Submariner, and so on, and the suit, all that. So I get off with it. And Hattori was having trouble finding one. He couldn't find one in Japan. And he begged me for it. He begged me, please, Fonzie, sell it to me. I give you twice as much what you paid for it. I ended up giving it to him. I gave it to him. And he never forgot that. It was like $500, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so I gave it to him. He never forgot it. And every time you know, I go over there, he'll give me shit and hook me up. And Hiro Matsuda used to bring him in to Florida when he come to United States and wanted to do Florida because Hiro Matsuda owned a piece of Florida,
Right.
10% or whatever is Eddie Graham and all that. And I met Hattori several times, and he would come referee for Florida, you know, because they had an exchange policy with because of Hiro Matsuda. Bringing a lot of Japanese young guys, Muda, the great Muda, and all that, and different. So we became good friends, and that's how I got that. He gave me that and several other things, you know. But pretty cool.
Well, so Matsuda, obviously, there's that famous story of him training Hulk Hogan, and he broke Hulk Hogan's leg.
You damn sure right.
Yeah. Did you give us a little bit of your perspective from that? What did you hear about all that story?
Well, Hogan didn't tell the story best. I don't want to mess the story up, but they trained him super hard. They try to discourage you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They try to discourage, oh, you want to be a wrestler? Okay, now there's a wrestling school on every fucking corner. You know, you pay your fucking $800 down and so much a month, and you can train to be a professional wrestler. How many make it? Not many, unless you're really talented. But some good guys have come out of those camps, brother. You know, but they got some great camps. Don't get me wrong, all the schools on hokey. Some of them, usually most of them are pretty damn good, or else they don't last.
Right.
So, you know, Hogan came and they tried to discourage him, you know, and back then there was a tight-knit community. It was very hard to break in professional wrestling, and they discouraged them and they stretched the shit out of the guys and, you know, hoping they don't come back. And Hogan kept coming back, and I don't think Matsuda, I don't know if he broke his leg on purpose, but he may have took it to the limit and something just snapped.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he intentionally broke his leg on purpose. And I broke this kid's leg. Fuck him. The Japanese are brutal, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, brutal when it comes to wrestling and stuff. And Jack Briscoe who I adored. Jack Briscoe is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's in my Rushmore. Rushmore and all that. Jack Briscoe. And Hulk Hogan received a pair of blue boots from Jack Briscoe, his first pair of boots in the wrestling business.
Wow.
Jack Briscoe gave them to him. Yeah. Ask him when you see him.
Okay. Heck yeah. That's awesome. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was a neat story of him.
Yeah. Oh, great story. Me and Hogan hit it off, because we got the same birthday. Both of our birthdays are next week. I'll be 67, and I think Hogan's going to be 71 or something like that.
I think he's same age as my dad. Same age as my dad. So
okay, so he was born in 49 or something.
53.
Okay, 53. What was I thinking? I was born in 57. So, but we got the same birthday. We recently just got married. We broke in same company, Eddie Graham and Hiro Matsuda. We got a lot in common. And for some reason, Hogan loves me.
You guys got both the 24-inch pythons.
Right, Daddy? I'm not so fat, Daddy. You know
look at you, damn. Yeah, Fonzie, you look great.
No fat, Daddy.
Heck yeah.
Because I eat right. I train a little bit. I walk my dog all the time, and I don't walk him around the block. I walk him way down there, and, we do good walks. Just... You can't sit still, man.
That's it, man. That's it.
I'm still having fun, and I'm, traveling a lot. It beats up a little bit, but I handle it pretty well. And I love the wrestling. The wrestling business has been so good to me, and I've earned. I can't believe people pay me to sign my name.
Yeah.
That I met this girl. She's kind of good-looking girl. And she was at one of the shows. She comes up to me and gives me a big hand. Oh, Fonzie, you're my favorite. She says, look, she pulls open a shirt and she has my signature tattooed on her chest.
Really?
My wife couldn't believe. I've never kissed a girl. I've never met her. I've never nothing with a girl. She's got Bill Alfonso tattooed right here.
Your autograph? It's your signature? Wow.
Yeah, and she had a copy tattooed on her chest.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. How about that? Man, that's a fan, all right.
Yeah. So,
That's
but
a-
anyway, wrestling has been very good to me. Not just because a girl got my name tattooed on her chest, but wrestling's been good to me. Thank you so much to everybody that I started with and I'm working with now. I get a lot of the young guys come up to me and say, Fonzie, would you watch my match? What do you think? This and that. Why do you think John Thorne brings me in? And I asked John Thorne this, AIW. I said, John Thorne, why do you bring me in? You don't have to. You bring me in every show you run. I'm an expense. You pay me pretty reasonable. You fly me. You put me in a hotel. Well, why? He said, Fonzie, we like you. You're upbeat in the dressing room. You help all the young kids. You do this. You do that. You bring the morale up. And I say the same thing to Brazilian Giant and CCW. The Giant, why do you bring me in every show? Why? And he told me the same answer. Say the morale, you do good with the kids, and you good with the fans. We love you. Now I'm commentating, color commentating. It's another new move for me, and I'm doing really good at it. And I'm like I am now, but watching the matches, hey, Daddy, wow, that reminds me of RVD, or, being Fonzie.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
man.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
The wrestling business has been great to me. All right, my last hat.
The last hat. Well,
a man of many hats today,
oh, look at that one. Saving a good one there.
Where it all started, Eddie.
Heck yeah. Speaking of ECW, here, I'll ask you this question before we close out, and then we got a couple of fan questions in too.
Okay.
So here's a good one. In ECW, Paul Heyman had 911. Were there any discussions about bringing in Gonzalez as your protection for 911, or was there any discussions of Heyman bringing in Gonzalez at all?
No, Gonzalez was already gone.
He was already gone. Yep.
Yeah, he left in late 93 or whatever it was, his last match, and he was gone already, diabetic and all that. He wanted to go home, save his money. No discussion ever.
No discussion ever on that. Okay. Let me see what else. Yeah, we'll close it out with this when it comes to Giant Gonzalez. What do you think overall is Giant Gonzalez's legacy in wrestling?
His legacy?
His legacy.
Being the tallest wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. Nothing against Andre. Andre was 7'3" or 7'4", and he was a giant in a different way. Andre the Giant was huge, and he was just like Giant Gonzalez, but Gonzalez had 4 or 5 inches on him, just taller. And Giant Gonzalez never lived to get big like Andre did. Andre filled out, and Andre was still, his body was still growing, like his forehead was, different, his jawbones, his structure was changing because of the Giant's disease. And Giant Gonzalez didn't have that yet. And he was still, and Giant Gonzalez was a good looking kid. He was just big. If you brought him down to 6'8" or something, he was a good looking kid. The women loved him. A Spanish kid, had nice hair and good looking face. He was just a giant, man. So he didn't have a chance to catch that Giant's disease where like Andre, where his jaw was still growing and his head was. Hey, did you see the Fonzie new gimmicks?
Oh, yeah. You got one behind you, too. They're like the wrestling buddies.
Oh, yeah, Daddy.
They look great.
Cool. I didn't know what to do with them. I got a friend in San Diego, Jeff. He's got like 500 or 600 customers that he sends a box every month full of wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
Could be, whatever. It could be stuff like this. So it could be, could be stuff like this. He puts in a box.
Oh, nice.
He'll send me a case of whatever, anything of me that he puts in a box, he'll send me a case.
Look at that.
Could be these little pins, a little Fonzie pin. Nice. Could be something like this, and it's this. So he always sends me a case. But I don't know what to do with them. You know what I mean? I got a whole case sitting right there, like a couple of hundred he sent me. So I was thinking of presentations, everything. I was thinking of putting them in like a vacuum sealed bag with an 8x10 sign and a couple of my, I got
The playing
line
card or the cards.
6 or 7 cards with me and Andre, me and Rick Rude, me and Dusty, me and Hogan, me and Flair, me and this. So I was thinking of putting the package together so you get an 8x10 sign of, a great picture like this, like that one.
Yep. Heck
right
yeah.
side. This and the cards,
The cards, yeah.
seal it up and sell it for whatever I can get for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get a package. If I try to sell these, I don't know what the hell to ask for them. Would people buy something like that? I don't know. But they like, presentations, everything.
Presentation. Yeah.
I make a good presentation with the picture, the cards, the signature of this. I think it'd be okay.
Fonzie fan package called. Fonzie.
Yeah, there you go.
Fonzie fan pack.
Why not?
Heck yeah. Speaking of fans, we got some fan questions here. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So this is, you kind of already talked about this. Matty Marijuana, who's big RVD fan. He's also a member here on One True Sport. He says, "Hey Dom, how was your SummerSlam? And was Fonzie there?" Fonzie, you were there. You were there in Cleveland, Ohio.
I sure was, Daddy. Did a show for John Thorne, AIW, Thursday night. A lot of WWE guys come down and say hello. And then I did in Sweetwater or something water the next day, Friday, with Sandman, Francine, Shane Douglas. We did an autograph thing, and it was great. So I was there. Then I flew out and did a show in South Florida Saturday.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was in Cleveland for 2 days having fun and seeing a lot of my friends. They were all at the hotel. And in fact, I stayed right across the street from where the show was. I stayed at Residence Inn, and I could look out my window and see the WWF trucks right in front of me.
How about that? That's
cool.
great. Yeah. She's pretty neat stuff. Yeah, my SummerSlam was great though. I got to hit WrestleCon, so I hung out with RVD, hung out with Kevin Nash, interacted with a whole bunch of guys, Ted DiBiase, Jake Roberts, you name it. There was a lot of cool, Kurt Angle, Sean Waltman. There's a whole bunch of names. Really cool to interact with all those guys and kind of reconnect with some of them that I've seen before and stuff. And so SummerSlam was great. It was a great show too. I got to go to the show and see all that. So and cover it via.
They do a hell of a production,
don't they?
Yeah. Things have been changed in the last year or two with WWE is changing hands of different promoters, different Vince's out or whatever, and Triple H is doing it, and they just sold some of it. Anyway, what a hell of a production.
Right? Hell of a production.
Yes,
okay.
Big production.
Big time. Matty also added too, you versus Beulah, you earn so much respect, bro. So he likes it. He loves the Beulah match there, Fonzie.
Boy, I beat her ass. It's people love that pick for
Bloody
some reason.
Fonzie, man. Holy smokes.
If you want to watch a match, you'll see the blood squirting out. So after the match, the paramedics were working on me and they couldn't stop the bleeding. So they put this cold steel plate on my head. It's some medical device. They put it on my head and force it and tape me up real tight and rush me to the hospital in an ambulance,
Yeah.
So I get to the hospital and they wheel me in, and I get the blood stopped for a minute. It's still leaking a little bit, and a nurse comes up to me and she, I'm waiting for the doctors. I'm in the emergency room, and she starts untaping me. I said, "Ma'am, I wouldn't do that because," and she says, "Don't tell me what to do. I've been a nurse for 20 years. I know what I'm doing." I said, "Okay." So she untapes, and the steel plate falls off. Blood shoots all over her fucking white outfit. She was fucking pissed. Oh my God.
I told you.
True story. I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but Daddy, but," and finally they got in there with tweezers or whatever and stopped the clamp. They clamped it and ended up sewing me up and stapling me up. And they wanted to admit me admit me into the hospital. And I said, well, they said, well, observation, you lost so much blood, we don't want to let you go. And I said, no, I got an early flight home. You flying home tomorrow? Oh, no, we don't. So they made me sign a release form because I didn't want to stay in the hospital.
Sure.
They made me sign a release form, and they said, so I signed a release form. They said, whatever you do, don't drink any alcohol, don't smoke cigarettes or pot, don't take any pills, relax, have somebody with you, spend the night with you, and let them know on your flight that, so I said okay to all that. So they wheeled me out to the Sandman waiting for me. He's got a 44-ounce 7-Eleven big gulp full of vodka and cranberry juice. Those are Percocet in my mouth and lights up a joint.
Oh my!
So I did exactly what I was not supposed to do. What the fuck were we thinking back then?
Right. You guys are crazy, man.
Yes. So if we didn't have that blood that night, which I didn't mean to bleed like that, but good thing I did because we're still talking about the match. If you ask Paul Heyman to name some of his favorite matches in the history of his business or in the history of ECW, you'll for sure mention the Fonzie Viola match.
If I ever get to interview him, I'll ask him. I'll definitely ask.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
And you will. You're interview him. I guarantee you're interview him.
Hey,
good guy with Van Dam. He loved Van Dam too.
Oh,
so,
yeah, right? Yeah.
And he loves me too. He'd be happy to answer that question.
That'd be great.
Mention and say, hey, would they name one of your favorite matches in ECW?
Okay.
And he's gonna say the Fonzie Viola match.
All right. Heck yeah.
And there was thousands of matches, literally thousands of matches.
Liam chimes in again. He says, what is the topic next episode going to be for you guys?
Good question.
Good question. So I got to thank Robert.
Be at Las Vegas.
Well, we'll be at Las Vegas, so we're definitely going to cover that after because we'll be at Cauliflower Alley, so we'll cover all that experience, which will be great. But I usually leave it up to Robert DeFelice, our research guys. Like, pick what you want, any good topic, because Fonzie's got a lot he can cover. So anything. So it's usually dealer's choice with Robert DeFelice, our research guy.
Tell your research guy I said thank you for that.
I definitely will.
Please tell him thank you. I said personally.
Yeah, he does a great job. He does an awesome job. And guys, so we do have 4 total entries for tonight when it comes to the giveaway. So we'll do the 8x10 giveaway. Let me make sure I have pulled up the right thing. So 2 entries are for Maddie and Liam. So it's either between you two. Whoever is gonna get it, we'll do it. I'm gonna do a random number generator, but let me make sure I have everything lined up here. So how I'll do it here. So Liam, I have Liam in there twice. I have Maddie in there twice. Between you two, you will get. One of you guys will get an 8x10 autograph, and I'm about to determine it right here, right now. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a great tracksuit, whatever you want to call it. It's got a hoodie, long sleeve. It's a Puma. The designer is Puma.
Yeah. And guys,
RVD, Sabu, Fonzie, Hardcore Legends Tour with all the paperwork with it and the ECW logo and shit. It's pretty badass, and you got the pants to go with it.
That looks, yeah.
So you got a whole set.
This
is our first giveaway.
Absolutely. So that will be next week. We'll announce a winner for that one, and we have. I'm gonna see how many entries we have right now for that one. So in total for that one, we have. Let me see. Let me make sure. We have Matt twice in here. Matt, I'm gonna add him twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 entries for the tracksuit. So we'll announce the winner of that one. I might do one more thing for a giveaway for that. So, but the winner for it is Liam. Liam, you win the 8x10 autograph. So Fonzie will send you a photo. We'll get your information. You are a One True Sport member too. So I'll be sure to touch base with you and kind of get your details and stuff.
Dominic, get that info and text it to me, and I'll have that out tomorrow.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, I'll get it sent in. And
Fonzie's choice, but don't worry, Daddy. I'll pick a great picture for you.
He'll send you a good one for sure. So.
And you guys, just because you enter and don't win a jacket, I'm not trying to sell or push anything, but I do He's
Yeah.
already for any of my shows. I always have any of the podcasts that any of the events that I do, the WrestleCons, the wrestling shows that I do all over the country. I usually bring a couple of cool ones.
Those are
and
awesome.
they're all good brands like Nike, and I don't buy no bullshit. It's all fucking badass.
You don't mess around with that.
No, not at all.
Heck yeah. So, guys, man, what a fun episode, Fonzie. I'm happy we got to cover Giant Gonzalez. I learned a lot about him. It's cool to know a little bit more besides just seeing that he was a really big dude and he had a presence in the early 90s. It's neat to know who he was as a person.
He was human as shit. He's just like me and you, except he was big. He cried. He was hungry. He loved his mom. Loved his brother. His brother wasn't big. Brother wasn't tall. A little bit tall, but not like that tall. He might have been 6'3" or something, or 6'4". He was a great human, man. Loved the people, humanitarian, cared about the planet and so on, and the poor people in his country, and giving back and stuff. And we'd go out of our way to, if we would do some appearances in high school and go get on the basketball court with the team or something, or, you know what I mean? And they'd ask him a question. He'd have a legitimate answer. He played basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball player.
Yeah.
And he was great. So he gave back. He was a lovely guy. I wish you would have been able to meet him. I loved him.
And he sounds like a great dude. I'm happy at least, though, we get to cover him and talk about him in depth and give him the proper respect that he deserves about in the business.
Yeah, and you're talking to the right guy. I spent 3 years with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every day for 3 years, but it's size of 5 or 6 times he went home in the 3 years, if that. He would say months at a time.
Man.
Spent Christmas with me,
Mm-hmm.
Spent Thanksgiving with me. Well, they didn't have Thanksgiving in Argentina, but
no.
they sure had Christmas, and he spent it with me and my family at my home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm happy you got to experience that with him, and he got to experience with you, because Fonzie, you're a great dude, and it's so much fun doing these with you on a bi-weekly basis. We'll get back into the rhythm of it next. So in 2 weeks' time, guys, be on the lookout here. We'll do right down the middle yet again, and we'll announce a winner of the tracksuit too. Look at that. Look at that. Good props to El Gigante, and Giant Gonzalez. So awesome stuff, Fonzie. Guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Appreciate it. Give us a shout out on social media. Follow Fonzie at Alfonso Bill. You can on Twitter. You can follow me at Dominic D'Angelo on Twitter. Fonzie, what's your name on Instagram? It's
Bill Fonzie Alfonso.
Bill Fonzie Alfonso. So follow him on Instagram too. And Fonzie, is there anything else you want to plug before we wrap up here?
I want to say hello to all the wrestling fans around the country and around the world watching this, and they eventually see it. I got a buddy, Abdullah, who's been watching it and loving it. He sells luxury sports cars and shit. I want to buy a new Porsche, but are you fucking crazy? I'm fucking sick. I don't need a new Porsche. I'm happy I got a Hyundai SUV or whatever you call those things.
Yeah.
Santa Fe or whatever. Pretty cool to travel in, but my buddy sells sports cars. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to all the wrestling fans and the thousands and thousands of people who view this. Very cool. Thank you very much.
That's right. We have 1,400 tuning in. So.
Wow, 1,400, not bad. Yeah. And then several thousand people will watch this episode during the course of its life.
Absolutely. And so, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to RVD for letting us use his social media.
Thanks, Daddy.
Yep. And thank you to everybody tuning in here. And guys, if you like what you're seeing, check out onetruesport.com and help us out too a little bit too. So we appreciate everybody. And Fonzie, I appreciate you. This is always fun, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Vegas, baby.
Oh yeah, 100%, Daddy. We're gonna have a nice dinner together.
Absolutely.
My Christine.
Heck yeah, I'm excited to meet her too. It's gonna be good times. But guys, we'll see you next time here on Right Down the Middle with Bill.
So long from the Sunshine State.
Heck yeah, Daddy. See you guys.